just leads to the kills. And in that game, we saw it versus Amorph, and he was pretty inundated. He was always on the run in that Undying draft.
Well, we're still held into our pause here. I mean, I'm looking. I wanted to see if there was any like sort of bug that was happening because I saw the courier bug twice again last game.
Yeah, it's not good. Small indie company, Pete. Small
indie company. We're still in beta. Believe it or not. Yeah, I went into the files yesterday because I had to get all the stuff ready for our nice like custom HUD thing. And like it was in there saying it still said it was Dota 2 beta. In fact, there was 2 files in there that said Dota 2 beta. That's how beta this game is.
It's still in beta, Pete, and it will never be out of beta. We'll get Dota 3 before that happens.
Valve, I don't think Valve can count the 3 though.
True, they did just make Artifact beta. But I guess that was the sequel.
They made Artifact. I mean, even Artifact is a too soon scenario here. There's a lot of people that I've talked with, and they're like, yeah, no, it's Artifact's just dead. I mean, it is. They've literally proclaimed it.
That is true. It's no longer receiving updates, but
This is something we were talking about a lot for almost the whole of today, that teams run at them kind of deal here. 3, now 4, and they see KJ is going to go end up having the win. Not boots first, but he ended up going winless.
Yeah, they cut him off.
I mean, he's caught, but KJ will go down.
Yep, giving it to the Storm's response, and you see Costabile, he will walk all the way to try and take both these runes, but I think he died a little bit too early. Not that he had much control over it, but they might be able to get 3. Yeah, you'll never skill the Grievous Greed level 1 anymore, but
yeah, you do see that they are lining up on the Infamous' heroes here, since Mikhail ended up going for win run at 1. He's going to try to but Mikhail is getting actually quite low here and trying to find a good angle to suicide to.
Oh,
KJ is here. And Mikhail will go down. They will make the 1-1 trade to Angel. It's still worth it in every way.
And it was quite unlucky that they he gets taken down in that situation. It would have been even easier if he got lucky on the stun, but still, not giving out the 40R, Angel will now have an even bigger boost. He gets to play with the Null Talisman, plus saving up for this bottle, and I can't help but feel that Angel's going to be very happy in this game.
Well, I mean, can't help but feel scenario because he's literally laning against Mars, which is mine when how can I contest this player scenario?
Imagine in this matchup, and I definitely have not played this matchup very much, is that the Spirits that likes to play very deep in the creep wave. He's really walking in between creeps quite a lot. And then back to the tower, and that's when the lane gets... Again, I think it's just going to be a farm phase out from Angel, though. I will say that.
I'm like, I was going to point it out, and like, wait a minute. No, Mars is not on the top. But he is close there. You're right. He's 4-2. Both of them very good denies so far. I mean, still Angel leaves the level advantage, though. Or the XP advantage.
When looking at the other lanes, this bot lane first is just... It's an offlane Tusk, right? You're going to split the farm a lot with this Windrunner. You really don't have that offlane... You're not a Mars, you're not a Pango, you're not a Beastmaster. You don't need these big items, so he will be able to play a lot less greedy, but... I don't know how much pressure they're going to be able to put on Costabile, but they killed top.
Yeah, they end up getting this kill on Leo. That's huge to get Alchemist kills very early. A is not able to do much with this. The creep that he did have actually got arrowed, and he just got slowly insidious damage coming from the Chaos Bolt and level 1
That is
Starstorm,
the issue
I
with
believe.
leading with this Enchantress is the Mirana does just simply come out and she's not going to be able to protect the Alchemist nearly as much as she would otherwise. Usually you see she's able to stack this small camp, set him up for success, but I don't know, Tavo's being able to pressure this lane pretty well. As soon as Tavo's out of mana, though, the aggression really does die. He's not able to do much without both of his spells.
I mean, you could see that, like, he only has mana for Reality Rifts now, but even Reality Rift is a very scary spell to run up against. I keep on looking bottom. I see Costabile just playing with his HP, much like every Morphling player we've seen throughout this whole entire tournament. Back up the top, though. Leo in a bit of trouble. Thoroko does have enough mana for an arrow.
Again.
And Leo knows that he can't run anywhere. He's just going to run in the tower, maybe to get the tower split. And he will at least get that, but the Centaur creep now getting arrowed to the face. And yet again, Infamous not taking good trade out for this.
Well, and he doesn't have a lane. He will be able to TP in 18 seconds, but he died pretty much... He died in the same fashion as he died before. He just wasn't able to get the lane control back on A, and he's dead as well.
Yep, barrel stuffed with an arrow there. That's three kills in this lane, 2 on Marana.
And the issue, he was trying to get the wave back in. He did exactly what I said. He stacked the camp. He did pull it, so he did deny a little bit of XP to the Mars. So Leo will have a lane to go back to, but none of this feels great if you're SG, or if you're Infamous, rather.
I was going to say, well, it's weird, but the net worth, but then I remember it's an Alchemist game. So the net worth, though, doesn't have a like immediate advantage. You're looking at it and you're like, well, that's the Alch effect. But the Alch is just, like you were saying, he has no lane. He is...
Because the hero really, just as base, needs those to get off the ground.
Sorry, I was looking at chat. I saw something funny in chat. It's that Artifact is so dead, I can't even find a match on relaunch.
Fair enough. It is sad. It is sad. But bottom, I think they got.
Yep. They actually, that's a really good ice shards. I didn't think that was gonna land, but yep, that's the kill on KJ there, and Mikhail's very happy to get that.
And A was finally able to get a creep that he really wanted. With this ice creep, it's actually very difficult for them to ever make a play. You see him now sitting on 11 armor. He's, or even more, 14 armor. Very happy.
Yeah, this is a very... beefed Alchemist now. This is the creep they've been trying to roll to get, but, you know, since you can't re-enchant the creeps anymore, he's...
And we will see sort of a slower burn game. Really, the catalyst for these plays to be made is really going to be based around the runes and whether 40R wants to make the rotation top, because he really is the strongest hero on the map at this point in time. And you see SG keeping the runes out of the hands of the Storm Spirit. We'll see if he gets greedy. Okay, they deny the rune.
That's actually a much better play overall. Maybe he thought the attack was going to go for him.
And now you're kind of in a farm fight. Bottom lane, they're trying to put pressure on the Costabile, but I mean, when Tusk, once he has that level 3 morph, there really isn't a lot of aggression they can do. He's saving a skill point in case he does need to skill up the morph, maybe get one, maybe turn into the Tusk and get a snowball out, but there's really not much pressure they can put on him. They need the Storm, and unless Storm gets a rune, he really has no reason to rotate out of the lanes. He'd much rather just stay here and farm.
And I felt like this lane was going to be more one-sided to the Storm. Looking at the level difference, XP-wise at least, there is more XP on this Mars than there is the Storm. It's 47 and 5 to 40R's 41 and 13, though.
And that's just because the Storm has been not necessarily forced to go to the jungle, but that's just the best way for him to spend his time. And you can't necessarily sit in the lane all the time. And now we see 40R, he wants Leo.
It's
and
kill
it's right
time.
before his 6 as well.
Yep, they're going to find him underneath here, and that's just a straight dead Alchemist here. Tholiker throws out the arrow. They will find at least a 1-to-1 trade, and they might actually get 40R here as well. With no enchant and no golem stone throw available.
And just not enough vision, and perfect vision coming out from SG Esports scouting. This is what the Mirana has been really doing with a lot of his time is just been trying to track where Leo's going now that he's not laning top, and Tavo has a completely free lane now in the top lane, and they're trying to swap things up. Well, if they get Tavo,
they roll in for
4DR.
Tavo, but they didn't know that 4DR was here this whole entire time, and that's the long duration stun from the CK. They find the kill. Thinking they were going to go for another one there. They actually have Phantasm up in 10, so they can go and return for this team fight. Back in the mid, though, they will be able to get Tholiker. But they got the illusion runes, so now your Storm Spirit is still sitting at no mana.
yeah, he will have to fix that sooner than later, but with the levels they've gained from their lanes, this is exactly what SG Esports they need to do. They need to put pressure on the map, force them into objectives while Costa Bile farms in the bot lane, and then you're going to be very happy. And that's why they drafted this very active lineup. They can't give Infamous too much space. And that's where Infamous, at the same time, they need to punish it. They need to pull SG apart, because if SG are together, I think the CK and Mars can carry them into the mid game in a very good position.
I mean, you could already see the first tower's going down, 9 minutes, and now they're looking for this kill on the clockwork, though. KJ and caught up in his ice shards, but Infamous can't really get in there to click the man. He will snowball in with the tag team. Meanwhile, 40R does find the kill on Wind in the mid. But Tavo will try to make this trade. Storm Spirit zips in, though. They will lose Mariano, but if they get Tavo, that's huge, and, well, with nowhere left to go, they will find the kill, 2 for 2.
Still and any kill you get on the Storm Spirit is very important before it Orchid. All of these are just freebies to him.
TP into the bot lane. Wind is here. Power shot. Shackle? Question mark? Nope. Just holding on for the time. They want to maybe confirm these bounties.
Leo is actually going for the Radiance instead of the Battle Fury we so commonly see. And he's going for even more stacks, but I don't know if I believe in it. We haven't seen it in a long time, but...
I mean, is it because of the fact that you're up against a CK? Like, you're fighting against these illusions? Speaking of which, KJ does go down. Infamous. We're trying to reset their heroes.
Mariano.
Oh, Mariano stuck up on the hill here. He's not going to be able to help as A gets bursted down immediately. Wind going to get hit with the stun there. It's going to be the long duration. 40R will hit him with the Rebuke and the Spear to follow through. Finish up that kill, and I mean, the Tusk is still up here. They're pinging him. He has 2 seconds left. Pinata time, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, they know they see him.
Yeah, there was a ward up on the hill.
Yeah. A sad death.
Nothing you could really do there. Nothing you could really do.
This Aux Radiance, I mean, usually you see them get the Battle Fury just because it's a little bit cheaper. You get very good components. It helps you accelerate, where as with this, you have to wait for the relic. It takes a much longer time. It is slightly more expensive. And once you have it, you can still die. Ooh, just barely evading the clockwork there as well. But the only other hero, or rather player I've seen build this in recent time is Paparazzi. And I remember very specifically, he didn't win that game after going the old build. Just, it feels like the Battle Fury is here to stay. They're doing some more fighting.
Yeah, they dropped the arena. They were trying to get this jump on the Tavo, but Storm Spirit does zip in. They will find the kill on Mariano, but the clockwork here as well. Mikkel is going to be in trouble. The arrow whizzes through. It's not going to find any targets. 40R is going to be in the sort of disengage point here. A is trying to push down get pushed down by KJ, and finally finding the last little right click. They get this kill. They bring up Storm, skewered to the sidelines here, and there's enough utility floating around here that they could end up getting Angel if they want it. And yep, there's that battery assault. Storm will zip to the high ground, though. Angel doesn't want to be anywhere near this. They could still get it if they want to make the push on him. Mars doesn't have a blink, though. This is the combat Mars, however, so it's going to be the Yules and the phase boots and probably
and honestly, 40R is playing so well. He's being so proactive on the map. He's everywhere he needs to be, and whenever this chaos and this fighting is happening so close to the ALK, he just straight up has to leave. And you see him already going towards top farming. He does have his relic coming out now. Hopefully it doesn't get clipped, but the triangle has been inhabited. And if SG Esports take that map control away, we've already seen that was Storm Spirit with an Arcane rune. That's the only reason 40R even came close to dying, and they can keep those runes out of his hands. Then the playmaking capabilities of Infamous's lineup are they're struggling.
Arrow with the spear. He's latched onto the tree, and the clockwork hook Latch onto his face as well. He'll get this kill, and Spirit Vessel is now live. This is the big key defining item for them. They could take out Alchemist in every possible team fight they ever wanted. They're even still Moonlit if they want to make a run at somebody here.
They have the Orchid as well. If they saw Costabile, he's waiting for someone else, it looks like. He's going to try for
Storm. Yeah, he zips in on Costabile, and like you're talking about, that Orchid showing it off as soon as possible. But here's the other situation. SG, they're wrapping with 3 heroes from the jungle here. Tavo does have stun, but no Phantom.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
it. Doesn't have TP either. I don't think Angel realizes what trouble he's in.
Courier gets picked. He is going to try to put some pressure onto Clockwork here, but Tho comes in, and Spirit Vessel Ho, they find the kill. It's not even an arrow for the finish off.
And I'm very surprised he didn't even try to Orchid the clock at all. He let the battery assault happen, and he didn't have TP, but I felt like he definitely could have given them a run for their money. But space for Leo, he does have his Radiance now. I'm very concerned, though, for the way that this map is turning. They just keep finding kills.
Yeah, Mariano being the next one on that to-do list. Poorly timed, actually, Ice Shards from the Morphling there. Not letting him confirm that kill. Though I'm not going to lie, there was a patch at one point in time that made Ice Shards a little bit harder to target. But speaking of target, Tavo, the ideal one, as they just insta-give him here. I mean, under the Acid Spray and tag team bonus damage with the punch, yeah, that'll do her.
And that is your Radiance, that is your sort of reveal, but the issue with this is you see him queuing up the BKB now. He doesn't have any physical, he doesn't have any armor, so that's why most people have been going for the Battle Fury into the Heart, the Sange, just because it makes you so much tankier. And he's got the Heart queued up afterwards, but there's still a possibility for this Alk to die in this game, and it's really up to SG to keep the gas on the pedal and keep running at them. 40R now has a haste rune, so they can still make these aggressive plays.
This might be a smoke as well, so yep, there's that 4-man, 5-man? 4-man.
Oh, they're going into each other.
I mean, there's so many Yules up on this game, and now you see KJ is going to be the one to reveal it. The zip in, he gets silenced immediately, but the arrow goes through. It was a snowball save, and they actually might be able to turn this around as 40R is taking quite a bit of damage, but skewered to the Clockwork Cogs, actually. They will be able to find this kill on Leo. KJ will fall. Mariano getting burned away from the Spirit Vessel here, but 40R with that haste rune. They'll hit him with one God's Rebuke and a follow-up stun out onto A. Mariano will die to Illusions, while Costabile will be focusing on A with an arrow coming through from Thorlicker. They will get the trade. All they lose from Clockwork, or all they lose is Clockwork on this one, and they know that there is no ult for the Alk for another 15 seconds when he comes back up, and I mean, they're probably just going to take towers. You can see them already pinging the bot tower and poising towards that location.
Well, and that is the issue with this Alk build. They smoked up, they felt confident, but you usually smoke up with the BKB. That's the timing where the enemy team still thinks they can fight you, but you pop BKB from nowhere, and then you usually turn the fight around, but there's just not enough time. And Costabile showing up to the fight, it was a full 5v5, and at this point, they weren't able to get the damage onto 40R. He was able to walk away. He's just slightly too tanky. And Alk, until he gets that BKB, needs to really respect this Mars.
Well, Rating dropped the scan they dropped the scan. They actually found 2 down there. I hear a Yules, though, as they are going to bring up the Enchantress is just slowly dead there.
Oh, bottom?
Oh, they do bring it up, actually. They might be able to find... Yeah, they find Costabile with this one. No silence needed, just a lucky shackle shot combo.
That was incredibly unfortunate. He thought he was okay because the Clockwork Flare was scouting out behind the tower right here, but both of the heroes were in this pocket right here. So they were just able to take him out without... He didn't even think anyone was down there. He was just going to get the tower and be completely okay. But still, an unfortunate death, but I still feel like SG Esports, they need to keep on putting this pressure. They need to keep on going down these lanes. Because Storm Spirit doesn't have the farm right now to fight. He has Orchid, he has Arcane Boots, but he's getting a BKB of his own.
Concoction. I heard it being channeled up here as it looks like they will find this kill on Tavo. The Tusk Punch in the backlines, though. Snowball goes out.
Oh, no.
Really defensive, but unable to soak that hook shot. They will be able to find Leo with the Spirit Vessel follow-up, and Costabile rolling in. They will be able to get a good trade off here.
And now the issue being is that we're no longer seeing the same Alchemist we usually see, where he is just farming on his side of the map, completely happy. if anything, all of the eggs are going into this Angel basket as his team is just getting picked off.
I mean, that's just... there's nothing you can do about this. They've got the great setup combo for picking off heroes one by one. And yeah, there's... I mean, you're looking at the... I'm looking at net worth, right? My first thought is I could see the Alchemist at the top of the net worth, and that's just how the typical Alchemist game goes. But the fact that it's only a... not even in their favor, 1k, less than 1k difference, this is not an outgame of our normal circumstances.
Well, in the way I look at it, I always match the Alk's net worth to the top net worth of the enemy team. And that's the lead I kind of put in my head, and they're going to get Angel.
Beautiful arrow combo, and unable to find the shackle on that one. They try to hook. They will look for this Mirana. The stun goes out, and Leo likely able to kill off Thorliker, but Tavo is here. He does have his ult available. No ags just quite yet, though, but they do find the perma shackle. Thanks to the help of the illusion, actually, from Tavo there. They're not even done yet, though. They might want to look for Tavo here. They do find the perma shackle. And Leo to drop the stun to follow suit, and Mariano can shards if he needs it. But the burn from Leo will help claim that kill. And they get 3 for 1. Still, though, you're losing Storm, but Leo is farming.
And that was the moment I was describing, where he has this BKB, they don't see it coming, he pops it, and they just weren't ready for that big of an engagement. And that's where the strength of this Alk lies. Dying 2 times before that was a little bit unfortunate, but now this is the build he sort of has, and you see him queuing up the AC because he knows he's just going to get shredded if this Morphling is allotted too much time. So once he gets that AC, their plays just start opening up. As well as the BKB being built on Storm, there's still a lot of fight left for both teams in this game.
The game is not quite over. Speaking of which, team fight, zipping in. KJ will get stunned up by Leo, but the return storm from the CK. The arrow goes through, not finding no targets, though. Wave forming out of there. Castabile does not want to be on the wrong side. Well, I always say the wrong side of the river. It's their side of the river, but doesn't want to get caught out. Doesn't have the shotgun quite yet, actually. He's quite behind in that department. And
I remember some casters saying whenever it comes to team fighting lineups, they need to win so many fights if you are SG. They need to keep on killing heroes. They need to keep on getting objectives, where Infamous is the opposite. If they win 1 or 2 fights, then it almost feels like SG's game is over with the heroes that they have for themselves. So SG, they need to keep making these plays with Moonlight, with Smoke, to find these advantages. Otherwise, Infamous, they're going to start to take the lead that they've drafted for themselves.
I mean, they have the more mid to late game sort of snowballers. I mean, Alchemist is made to be snowballing come mid game, and since with the Radiance build and not the Battle Fury build, it is quite a little bit slower than average than we're used to seeing, like you were talking about earlier. But the threat of it is still ever looming. And once the AC is up, he'll be able to jump into all of these team fights with a more dominating frontal position. I mean, you can see how quickly he already chunks through the towers. Yeah, back in mid, though, there is a hook that goes out, and this Enchantress, not so lucky.
And they're still getting a lot of these free kills, and this is perfect. They get the pick off mid, and Castabile immediately walks into Roche. It isn't the fastest Roche, but I doubt that Infamous will contest otherwise. And if they do contest, that's what SG want. They want to find another big team fight. The pings are coming out. They know that if they're not hitting mid tower after a pick, then they're going to probably be hitting Roche, and it will fall into the hands of Castabile most likely, and he'll be very happy with that.
KJ actually getting kind of low here, but still free Roche. I had to put everybody up here, though. I mean, they could Infamous smoke into it if they want. You see that they're all here. And the blink is up on Mariano. This is new.
I think 40R saw that.
Yeah, there was... What did they see it with? They pinged
I think he saw the edge of the smoke. I think it was just slightly in vision. He had daytime vision there.
Darn daytime.
Theliacore is even just sitting in the pit trying to break heroes, maybe looking for someone top. Yeah, but that's what SG need to do. They need to keep progressing the game towards a victory. They need to keep on making these movements. Whereas Infamous, they really just need to react to them appropriately. And they're in a good position, but I don't think they'll walk up there. SG also sees everyone, every single player on Infamous right now with this ward.
Oh, Clockwork Hook. They do manage to find Mikhail. I mean, he might actually be fine, but no, he turned around for a quick second. And Costabile able to get the shotgun out there just in time.
And it's these small pickups that they're reliably getting that's exactly what they need to do. They might even get another one mid. If he finds the Yules onto A, it'll be his death as well. Yeah, they're pinging him out, but most likely not worth the chase. But as far as it goes, if they keep finding these small picks, they just need to keep on pushing their advantage. And that's what they're trying to do by making a play on this mid tower. But I'm not sure. Infamous don't want to fight until this BKB's up on Storm. I think they're most likely going to dodge this fight up until that happens. But they want Leo.
I mean, we got another 700 gold until that's up. They do
unlucky.
find him with the flare, but 40 are just not close enough. And they see
as
the
soon as they
from
TP out,
Ariana as well.
they just ping the bot tower. They know that, and again, they're getting these objectives pretty reliably. At the end of the day, is this going to be enough time for Infamous's lineup to really come online and actually team fight? As we see the Ags on Tavo now.
I was going to say, with the Ags online, it might be starting to get a little bit out of that out-of-hand range because, I mean, Illusions of Costabile, pretty good. Illusions of Mars, pretty good. Illusions, pretty good.
Very obnoxious,
and in the mid,
especially
though,
the Morphling.
Leo
Leo
was going to get skewered to the wall there, but does not end up getting hit there. KJ, I think, trying to look for the ideal hookshot angle, but Thorlicker walking in front of it consistently. You can see him even pumping it, too. He's like, I could have hooked him like 6 different times. Oh, he throws up the flare. He sees him. Oh. Just whiffs it.
And they do need to be cautious. Angel does just pop his Arcane Rune. He does have BKB if they wanted to smoke again on Infamous, but I think checking the heroes, yeah, we only have one more smoke coming out from the Windrunner. Otherwise, I think they're going to be on cooldown for another 5 or 6 minutes. And at the same time, SU just want your towers. They want to keep on progressing this game forward, especially with the Aegis. Oh.
I have to get the BKB reveal. He can be a little bit more cocky like this. They will find the kill on Thorlicker. So they know they have no Moonlight. Leo actually walks up to the high ground. Tavo primed and ready for this one. They make the Illusions, and the Yules goes up. It's actually a good proc of Illusions. The Shackle Shot actually eats the Illusion proc. Meanwhile, in the backlines, the Arena is used on Angel, but the BKB reveal to prevent this immediately. And Angel comes in. They get this kill out onto the Clockwork. Costabile in trouble here. He's morphing into the strength, but there's just so much damage with Tag Team. But I think with this alone, Infamous, they want to leave. But in comes Clockwork from the buyback, and they are going to go on this kill for Leo. Meanwhile, they will pick off the Tusk off the sidelines. Actually, a double pickoff here. So still, SG coming out on top with those pickoffs.
It was a fantastic buyback from KJ. He was able to find the ALK without his ultimate, without his BKB. And they were cutting it very well at first. Infamous were able to put the focus back onto the backline, run out the Morphling, get away from Tavo and 40R, but these strength heroes are just a little bit too strong. They hold up your supports, and they cause so much trouble for your backline that they were just able to buy time. And Morphling, being the Aegis carrier, he doesn't care about losing it because ALK dies, and that's all that matters.
Scan. There's no Yules.
Oh, Angel.
On either of these. Arrow? Oh! I don't know if it would have hit him, though. Looks like it was off to the left a little bit too much.
So that would have been a crazy pickoff in the bot lane. And back to it, it really feels like Angel is the catalyst. He's the one that needs to win this game for Infamous, as it's very difficult for them to get a really clean team fight going because SG has just drafted such a well-rounded lineup. Even though they have sort of the weird offlane CK going for them, 40R has been playing this Mars absolutely perfectly.
They smoke up, but I think Clockwork pinged it immediately. They smoked directly on top of this ward here, so they saw the whole entire thing.
And this is it. This is their last smoke.
It's not a last hurrah one, however, but it's still a hard one to keep, and you see that KJ is just up here on the hill. He wants to eat it on purpose. There'll be the sacrifice, but it would be a dieback.
Oh, no.
They actually skewer the now extremely dead Storm Spirit. Hookshot goes in, and they are going to look for the kill out onto Wind as well. Mikkel will go down. It looks like they're going to start poising towards the pit. The pit does not have a Roche available at most for the next 2.5 minutes, but unable to find anything other than that. I mean, they get 2 really good pickoffs with that counteract the smoke.
The greed from Angel. Tavo
gets hit by a stray arrow, and he's going to be sent to oblivion as he will slowly die. I think that Ghost Scepter, that E-Blade, might have actually rinsed it a little bit here. Making of the illusions. You see Tavo
No
comes up
way.
to the high ground, but the arrow just in time, and they find A with the full cleanup as well.
Right, it was a little bit messy, but it's so unfortunate. All of these pickups are so unfortunate for Infamous Gaming. They're just getting caught out in these they're all at different spots, but they're all dying one at a time, and they can't really string together a good fight. Even with that smoke, I don't really know what the goal was. They hit Heroes with the scan, and maybe not expecting a full 5-man, but SG have just been ready for that this entire game. Angel as well, getting greedy, not BK being immediately out of the Yules. There's just not a storm in that fight. And losing both cores in such quick succession, I mean, SG are just picking up so much speed.
It just feels like this this Alku is sitting still top of the net worth, but based on the Alchemist-esque full, there's no showing of Infamous's force in this game. They're not a threat. And like it's just letting SG do whatever they want, and I mean they're about to come up and kill your Tusk solo. Arrow goes through.
Oh, they see him.
I mean they know which direction he's going. Goes down and he starts. I don't even think he started the TP. Illusions being made. Oh, he doesn't even have a TP. He's just dead.
Yeah, he's trying to buy as much time as possible, but again, I feel like we've seen 1-2 heroes getting picked off so often on the Infamous side. They just can't string together really anything. Any of the plays that they have been making, the team fights have been okay for them, but it's these small little pickoffs when they try to make something happen. Nothing is working for them right now.
They are moonlit up here. Clockwork throws up a sentry on the hill. And flares
You
off
saw
to
the
left.
Alxa
Yeah.
aura.
I saw the Radiance burn there a little bit. Wind runs to the low ground here. They drop a scan. I don't actually know where it is. Hook goes out. They whiff him. Arrow goes through. Arrow. Arrow. Oh. It gives them the knowledge that Mikhail was down there, though.
And it really just is SG just chasing them across the map, because Infamous, they don't want to fight. If anything, they want this Roche to respawn as slow as possible.
ADR, they
again.
Well, insta-cleave down. ADR is perfectly
He
fine with
wants
this.
the
Finds
gem.
the gem. Needs the BKB if he wants to turn and live out of this one, but
That was probably what was delivered. And after he has that, I mean, any threat that was on him before is now gone. I mean, he still even has the Aegis.
Courier does get clipped here, though. On that storm, I don't know what was in it. I don't know. I also don't know why it was all the way over here. But you can just see SG. They're poising so well with this. They have so much domination with this map. Just adequately contesting the triangle. They will throw out a flare, which gives them vision of A here. And, well, KJ, I imagine he will still get it. He'll even dedicate the hook. Make sure it happens. And the counter force staff is there with the help of the good old-fashioned psychic headband.
And if anything, A is just acting as a ward, as a sort of last signal that, yes, they're here. Yes, I'm dead. I'll see you guys in less than 40 seconds. Because his respawn is so fast because he hasn't gotten any levels. He hasn't gotten any kills because there hasn't been any team fights. Nothing really for the way of the supports. And you see in the net worth, I mean, Clock is about to overtake, or not about to overtake, but...
Oh!
Mariano
they find Angel.
Is so poor.
Like, I saw him for a split second there. I didn't think they were actually going to get him, but they did. And they BM, or not BM, tip Tavo. More or less, good job, tip Tavo. And there's no buyback on this storm.
Was that just a CK that just killed him?
Yeah, it was originally the Mars was chasing after him, and he zipped away as soon as he saw him from the low ground at the creep camp. And then CK just pressed R, pressed Q, pressed W, and I think he got 3 crits out of 4 possible crits.
Well, and it's not over, but you're right, without the buyback, they can just go to T4s after this. They're going to prod it to see if he uses it, but once they realize, I mean, they can do whatever they want at this point.
Yeah, they're going to clean up these ad buildings, and once that's done, they might just... Are they going to do it? Yeah, they're going in. They want to poke at him. They want this buyback, and you can just see that they're free to do hero pickoffs like this. And that's for in that 30 seconds. Like, what are we going to do here? That's just it.
I mean, a 3v5, Leo is still farming. There's not much they could do. He gets some neutral items, but storm up in 15 seconds. I think they know what's happening now. They might decide to back. Yeah, they don't want to throw with 10 seconds on him.
Oh, punch, though. Oh, that's snowball. Oh, defensive. Okay, it's going back in. I'm like, there's no way you would want to snowball onto them.
As soon as they see the AUK TPing back, though, they know that there's no objective left. They might reconsider with the Aegis popping, but they'll stay here. They'll stay in your base. They really have no reason to leave.
I mean, they got 100 illusions and a full army of abilities. The arena's still good to go. The shotgun's still up on Morphling, sitting at 1500 HP, but...
I just see the sea of illusions.
Yeah, it's a lot. Oh, well, I mean, A tried to convert one. Do lose a little bit to this. Arrow goes through. It's not going to find any lucky target.
If anything, SG just want to prod. If they get AUK's BKB, if they get AUK's ultimate, then that's a very large window for them to get damage on these buildings. Or they could do the alternative. Yep, they draw on the map. They want to just get this top T2. It's time for them to push, and after they get that top T2, the Rax is so much more difficult to defend than the Ancient. And Infamous are really on a timer here.
I just saw them ping the secret shop. Is anything happening of grave importance? No Divine. No Divine. This is not a Divine carrier game either, though. You don't really want your AUK running with a Divine when he's still not top of the net worth here. My computer lags every time that Tava wants to hit the ult.
And it feels like Leo, I mean, if he could afford one, he would love a Divine in this situation, but he has, like you said, not enough net worth. And that's kind of the sad fact of this game, where now they're going to push into your top building. You have to now contest with Megas, and...
Oh, they spoke.
Yep.
I don't think
they
it was
need to find a good fight. They might get a
this...
little bit safe as well, because they saw it with the hook, or with the flare. Well, they're popping.
Well, they already Moonlight is the big problem here. There's no vision available for them. I don't know where the gem carrier is. They are going to find this kill on Thorlicker immediately, while the arena is going to be dedicated to kill off Wind, and now you just see Tavo going ham. Leo, he just can't click hard enough. There's nothing this man can do. Mariana goes down, and the Yule's out onto A. Tavo throwing out the alt chat line there, and the Storm Spirit, the only one to really disengage, but you can see that Mariano wants nothing to do with this game. Infamous will drop the GG, making this a 1-1 game. SG to take the second game of the series.
And after such a dominant performance, I think it all goes back to this second game draft, where I don't know if it was they were being a little bit too smart or they really felt countered or threatened by the SG heroes, but Infamous weren't able to make any plays on the map. As soon as they picked that Windrunner and they sort of had to fudge where all of their heroes were going, it felt like SG Esports just had a way more well-rounded lineup.
And I doubt it every time, but the CK, it actually does so much work. And I always look at the, like, getting the Aghanim Scepter as such a weird thing for CK. But I think ever since they made it to where the illusions are global, that's
Yes,
kind of
that
what changed it.
well, and I'm looking back at the game. They did play it carry when they were playing versus Laudanum defenders, but there's some tech there. Similar to whenever we saw the Tusk versus the 5 DP,
Mm-hmm.
where these teams have these strategies that not everybody knows about. Not everybody has these pre-planned things, and it worked perfectly. Maybe it's the out counter, maybe it's exactly what they needed, but a part of me also feels like Infamous Gaming definitely messed up a little bit in their drafting, where at some point it was all Angel. You didn't have like the previous game where the Pango had a game. Like every single hero in the previous game was able to accomplish something, whereas in this game it just felt like a slow death.
Yeah, it was a moderately slow game, it felt overall. And it's weird to feel that an Alchemist game like this was that slow game. But that is it for that series. Yeah, SG Esports, they were able to take a game off of Infamous so they could come out of this with a 1-1 for their score. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, there is another series after this. And I was given an update in the middle of our game just now that this is technically, as of 14-ish minutes ago, the last series of the day that's coming up after this. The series afterwards, that was the 4 Zoomers and 5-man Midas game. I believe they said that they had to forfeit that game. But I'm sure I'm going to have to explain it again when chat asks 2 hours
Too many Bs, man.
Welcome to the BTS Pro Series, brought to you by Beyond the Summit. There we go.
5 seconds remaining.
Say that 5 times fast, it'll get even worse.
I could. That's
But,
probably one I'd be able to do 5 times fast.
But right into the draft, I don't know about you, but I'm not surprised at all. Earth Spirit, really common South American pickup. One of the best, still one of the best fours. A lot of these teams just like doing crazier stuff, and something we didn't see a lot of, but is definitely still viable, is the Wraith King. And it's that second pick, where second pick in the first phase, if you're not careful, this happens. This could have been an Alk, this could have been a Wraith King, this could have been a lot of heroes, but Infinity Esports get the Wraith King, and I'm sure they're very happy.
Yeah, this is another SA favorite heroes. I think ever since the showing of Hector, that kind of sparked a lot of people wanting to draft this hero in their day-to-day pools. And you're right, we haven't really been seeing a lot of it because not a lot of the other regions like to prioritize this as one of their main pick cores.
5 seconds
I think in the double down SA regions, we usually see it in not maybe first phase, but second phase bans.
Definitely, and I mean, K1 is a beast. He is one of the best, still one of the best, keeping it real. I think he's on the top SA team, going to be at the Singapore Major. But the issue is arising again, where you pick both your supports in this first phase if you're Ego Boys. I like both those heroes. I think they're very strong, but now Infinity Esports are going to be able to zero in on the counters to the Wraith King, the counters in the off lane, and you see that with the Tide ban, yeah, they take out the Alk as well, and this Wraith King is going to feel like he's going to end up being Infinity Esports' sole win condition, and that might be enough, as we've seen previously in BTS Pro Series 5.
Yeah, it's usually one of the run over the game kind of heroes, and usually when you pick it up like this, that confidence alone is enough to sort of spur a victory, more or less. I mean, it's honestly just a big fun hero to play. Sure, it is just running around the map farming 80% of the time, but you know, that's where the fun is. Safe laners have fun farming. That's it. They don't have fun team fighting. You know AM players.
Oh, of course. They're kind of extinct. They're kind of extinct at this point, but I've seen an AM here or there.
Yeah, we haven't seen that hero, I think, a single time in at least in our casts. I don't know if it's happened at all though.
I think there was one game and he lost very badly. He
sounds about right.
It was not very fun, but Infinity Esports take the clockwork. It's still one of the best heroes, and we've seen it every single game. As soon as we started branching off into the South American versus South American teams, and there's no way to undervalue it. It's simply one of the most efficient heroes that these guys like to use very much. It's great versus the Witch Doctor. It's hard for him to lane typically, and now if Infinity Esports can pick up an offlaner that they're happy with, their lockdown, it's already feeling very good, I think, on Infinity Esports lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Wraith King, you've got your Clockwork Hook in, the Enchantress, and, you know, everybody knows that you're going to whip out one of them Centaurs. We talk about it every time there's an Enchantress. It's just, you got that Centaur, the 2-second stun that nobody really expects very early in the game. Timbersaw is a good response, however, to this. Like, it's more of a Clockwork is trapped in, but doesn't really actually trap the Timbersaw, and it's pretty good against
You're
Wraith
in
King
there with me.
Skelebros. Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't really pressure too much until that Spirit Vessel comes online. A situation where we might have rather have seen the Murano, where once you get that Euls, you do have that easier kill potential. But now Infinity Esports really have to rack their brains to see what offlaner they want to pick versus that Timbersaw, because there aren't too many matchups where you want to give this Timbersaw a very free time. They don't want to be picking Beastmaster, but they might pick it up. But that's a good answer.
Yeah, this is the good the Timbersaw response, and not to mention it kind of puts a little dent in any other real good safe laner they could maybe pick up right now to sort of like respond to the Wraith King kind of pick up still. But it looks like Ego Boys were hellbent on their pick here, and they actually just opened with the Quab.
And this is dissuading the Bat Rider. As we see, typically the Bat Rider is only laned mid. They can definitely flex it, but it's really seen its heyday mid because of the nerfs it's received, where it can't really
10
farm the jungle
seconds
nearly as
remaining.
effectively. It can still do ancient stacks, but it's not nearly as
5
fast. And
seconds remaining.
at this point, everybody knows you're going to be contested. And if they force this Bat into a side lane, then I think they're going to be very happy on Ego Boys. At the same time, if they play it mid, that's why they picked the Queen of Pain. They want to have that favorable matchup, and Queen of Pain is one of the best heroes versus the Bat Rider mid. I
Well,
am curious as to why they didn't pick Beastmaster, though. That
Dire
is,
team ban.
it's still in. It's still there.
Radiant team
And they
ban.
and it
just
looks like
decide
they're,
not to.
I mean, it looks like they're just gonna stick with banning the supports still, or the safe lane course. No, because Viper's more of a mid. So I
And
think
you can already see with the bans on Infinity Esports taking out the Sark that they're already preempting putting this
10
Bat Rider in a
seconds
side lane
remaining.
because the mid match it's that bad, it's that unfavorable that they don't want
5
to be
seconds
playing at such a
remaining.
deficit.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Viper bans, immediate telegraph, Monkey's on the table. That's what they're looking for, and I'm guessing Infinity Esports should be banning it out here as it plays so well into the Wraith King. It causes so many issues for Enchantress and Clockwork, whereas they're not as tanky, they're not as beefy. The monkeys don't care about the untouchable, they don't care about anything really. And it would match very well into Ego Boy's draft, especially pairing with the Witch Doctor in lane.
Dire team ban.
Ban
Good
out the
ban on
Lesh.
Lesh.
Yeah, that's another one of the run at them heroes that's gonna dominate really well against this Timber and Witch Doctor.
Viper as well. They're really trying to secure the co-op matchup. After seeing the
Radiant
Slark
win
ban,
lane.
they're, I think,
Mm.
confident that it is going to be the Bat rotating to the off lane to then try and counterpick the Queen of Pain in whatever capacity that may be. But still, Infinity Esports, they have to kind of delve into unknown territory to find some of these matchups. And yep, Jug.
All right. I mean, this was a hero that we actually saw second phase ban a lot in a couple of our other games today, as well as a lot yesterday. And then, of course, Sammy getting it for free twice in a row and winning with it twice in a row. It's a really good
See, with
hero
that
overall.
team, they're so confident with it on four Zoomers. They'll just pick it up, and usually the third hero on their team, of course, after picking Gunner, Storm Spirit or something, because they really have just all of the confidence in the world in this tournament. In Jug, if they now that they know that it is most likely going to be an offlane Bat Rider, again, it's one of those few counters where, okay, you've got 7 stacks, I'm going to spin, and if you're not careful, I'm going to bait you to go on me, and then I'm going to spin on you. And at the same time, one of the best heroes in the game from the safe lane position. And on Infinity Esports, they really need to think if they're what mid lane can they pick to really round out this lineup? Because the Eagle Boys have a very strong, solid 5-man.
The Void Spirit might be the first one that kind of comes to mind because this also offers them that catch that they could get on top of the Witch Doctor for. The co-op can be in a bad position, but it's still not good against this Timber Saw, and Jug can tear through with given circumstances. And they're going to pick up Kunkka.
Choose your hero.
And a hero that lapses, like, I don't think about it, even though we've seen it picked every single day so far. But it is a good hero. It is a little bit rough, and you're laning versus alone. And we talked about it in an earlier series that alone individually is really up there. He's really someone to fear against. And PP is playing in sort of an unfavorable matchup already. But if he's able to get things going, you are going to X him. That's something alone will always have to be scared of. You need to be careful of the catch that hero does provide. And that is your secondary catch, because unless you're getting lassoed, it's really just Pamplona and PP. There's really nothing else to hold down the heroes on Ego Boys. But other than that, I still favor Ego Boys in this game. I think that their lineup is very scary. And again, you're picking the Kunkka into Timbersaw, which we saw he was able to kill the Timbersaw in the previous game, but at what cost? You're kind of always running away from him. If you let your attributes get a little bit too low, this Timbersaw is still a very scary hero.
Yeah, and it's a hard draft for them to run at. And you're right, like you could throw about 1.5 million spells at this Timber Saw, but I mean they still couldn't get it though, right? Like the Timber didn't lose that game. Then again,
No, he didn't.
the other scenarios that game was like another one of those terribly one-sided.
And honestly, Ego Boys draft-wise was just very smart. They banned all of these mid laners up until that point, and getting to last pick that QoP, talking about how strong the second pick is in the first phase, how strong the first pick is in the second phase, where you're just able to drop these heroes, and if you don't have an adequate response, finding the Kunkka was definitely a good idea, but it still feels like Ego Boys have the leg up draft-wise in this game.
And we've seen Benjaz perform on these offlaner heroes. No matter what one they actually throw him into, he like outperforms beyond most of my expectations, at least.
Just to be clear, if I call you mate, I don't mean it literally.
Great voice lines.
Yeah, it's I really need to like just spam back into playing heroes with good voice lines so I could just play them all through.
You're gonna wrap behind the entire 5-man.
Yeah, it's a double down smoke as well. You can see that Infinity are smoked up, trying to fight for this top area here, and G Pride, Ego trying to do the same thing. I see 2 people with G Pride and only 1 with Ego. My first thought is always say G Pride. Oh, there's 2.
Don't forget A team. We've got three members.
Yeah, we got Ego, we got G Pride, and A team. I do remember A team actually. That was a roster for a time.
They do need to be careful, though. We see actually a lot with this nighttime change that usually the first person that peeks their heads out or gets found isn't the one that dies. Sometimes it's the one that gets turned on, as both these teams are so ready for this small engagement, and it's going to be Tano.
Yeah, Tano's going to be the first catch here, and he does have roll available, and he might start.
That's what I mean,
yep,
right there.
You're right. The first person who gets jumped isn't usually the jumper. He gets the jumpy. And I might find now, actually. Spin, I mean, it's got 30 seconds on it. The main pressure you'd be applying to this is just running at them with whirling.
And I mean, they had the wards. They basically mirrored each other up until that point. But yeah, you always have to be so careful. Both these teams are just so ready to jump each other. And it's unfortunate the clockwork falls in that fashion. But it is what it is.
You can see them actually sort of respecking their lanes around here. Looks like they're going to try lane this top lane for a little while. Or no, Jug going back. Okay.
And you see Little Boy doing the exact same, except they have the ward to scout this out. They don't want the Bat Rider versus the Jug, and they're going to do anything to swap it. And they're actually double swapping. So the Jug is actually going to end up versus... I haven't seen this in a very long time. Where both supports are now just taking the waves because we have to get these favorable core matchups, and you see Rises, he doesn't want a TP. Whoever TPs first in this situation loses, and both of these laners are going to make the long walk. This is quite the start to this game.
Yeah, it's quite the level problem here, but I mean, Little Boy, he's lined up now down in the bot, and the Jug is here. Only difference is that Jug got the first blood XP, so they do have that. Oh, and the kill, so they do have that advantage working for him. So as soon as they see the bat, I imagine they're gonna consider the TP out. Do the swap.
And that's the issue. They will just get chased. That's why making the correct read is so important. And it looks like Ego are going to get the lane setups they want. And that's Jug versus Bat Rider and Timber versus Wraith King. And they're got to be a little bit unhappy. And it's actually bottom. Kara has Maledict already because he took the wave.
Maledict coming in there, although no great follow-up damage available. Maybe 2 more right clicks will do it, but the Fairy Fire will save it from the Maledict burn.
Pamplona was able to steal the creep wave.
Like trying to figure out where the heck they are. It's just, this game still feels quite all over the place. The creep wave is all the way back here, however, but that is the best steal that they could have gotten.
Almost very fortunately for Ego Boys, even though he stole the creep wave, they were tanking the creep wave that entire time. It didn't fall underneath tower, so Rises has a relatively reset lane if he decides to. And Kara immediately with the pull, he's just trying to keep everything under control.
Tano.
Actually, mid.
Yeah, they TP in Tano here and going in for the body blocks. There's no fresh dagger on PP though, but now there is. The burn damage is going to be there. They're going to do at least the trade. Tano will go down while the kill will be picked up for PP, actually.
It would have been a lot cleaner. He was, I think, 15 mana off of the Boulder Smash. Then it would have been a much easier kill. But it was really break deck. He was really looking for that opportunity and trying to make something out of nothing there. But now Lone will start to pull away in this mid lane.
He's already got that light advantage, like even before that, sitting 13-5 to 10-1. Like most of PP's damage comes from just getting a nice Tidebringer off out onto the QoP, but I mean, Alona could just do what Queen of pain just do. And just press Q on enemy, deal damage.
And in this mid lane, it's less of the issue that they're both going to get farmed. They will be able to push out these waves, but Alone will not have to spec nearly as much regen as PP will into just having Salve just being able to show up to work. But as opposed to Alone, where he's just going to be able to get this easy last hits. You already see he stacked a small camp for himself, but PP's already falling behind in levels.
Yeah, it's not proving great for them, and it's somewhat reminiscent of going back to the first blood as well. They just had that little bit of early advantage. You don't want it to kind of spiral out of control, but it's kind of the fact that like this isn't the ideal lineup for PP, and especially since there's a lot of room domination.
Oh, no.
Rune domination they can do, and since it was an illusion rune, actually Alone is going to be fine, but Pamplona is going to not be fine in this one as Tano tries to roll in there. The dagger burn won't be enough to kill him. He'll be at 50 HP or 5 HP. No, yeah, 50.
And just really fast decision making from Alone. He sees the illusion rune, he sees the clockwork, he says, "You can't fight me. If you do, you're gonna die," and stands his ground. And now it's the same thing. There's no plays really to be made mid unless the Enchantress gets a very strong creep. She's kind of stuck top because it is Wraith King versus Timbersaw. She's gonna try to stack up now, maybe, but it feels like nobody can help out PP, and he's gonna have to help himself out once he gets level 6. But otherwise, his game is going to be really hampered.
Well, he does have at least the first bracer. I don't think you run the double. Nope, he's running the double bracer this game. I mean, he's going to have to if he wants to survive against this mid lineup. The magic damage is insane, but looks like they find Sexy Yogi. But they will deny the bounty.
Nice deny. He's going to try to deny himself. Ooh, with the Satyr.
It was close. Unfortunately, he stole the strongest Satyr available out of that camp.
Oh, and with all the running around that was done in the early stages of this game, it feels like it's so quickly turned to 5 minutes, and because of that, the Clockwork hasn't really gotten to make any plays. There hasn't been any griefing of the Witch Doctor. He's just been kind of stack pulling endlessly, and he's having a fantastic time down here. And well, if he gets unlucky with the cast,
this is it's not the.
He's still gone.
Yeah, it's the spin. They'll be able to find this kill because the Maledict damage will be enough. Come with the last HP bar. Wait for it, gets thrown, and you see that Kari's just like, nope, can't do it.
And Rises might need to start his TP, but oh,
he's
with
got
the
the
phase
healing
boots?
ward. Oh no, they break the healing ward. He's got 15 charges though. He's gonna be fine.
And now it's even Alone. They want to just punish this little boy as much as possible. Or Bat Rider. That sounds weird.
To this little boy as much as possible, and roll goes out. Little boy, he's out of there. And
There's just nothing he can do. He's just at such a level deficit, and there's not much that they can do. The counterplay isn't really there because Ego have just chosen such strong laners that Infinity, just from the draft, are already on the back foot. Well, they want to kill Alone mid, but I don't think they're going to get him.
I mean,
he was trying to bait him with the glyph, but
yeah, he's a scary target to kind of just go on, though. It's just got the blink, that's always that counter reliance, and then the dagger, the unaccounted damage. Top lane, Coconut goes through. Don't even need the second bounce. Ben Jazz will find the finish off, and I could have swore I literally just saw Kara bottom. Like Ego boys are rotating their heroes fantastically to confirm kills left and right.
Just being very efficient. They don't really need to be in a rush either. They're very confident with what their heroes can accomplish, and getting this top tower so early, Ben just keeping that 5-minute card alive so long, and Wraith King's already had to rotate out. He's working on a Midas, but we've seen to varying degrees of success this Midas on Wraith King working out, and it feels rough. It feels like it's going to be a while before he's really able to be effective in this game.
I've seen the Midases work out usually when it's a game that the Wraith King is somewhat leading ahead, and in this scenario he's struggling to kind of balance his net worth at the moment.
I mean, it's just Ben Jazz just constantly running at you, and Little Boy's not even level 6.
These are 5
He's not even
ranged
able to rotate.
creeps.
Yeah, he just kept him stacking up. He really kept the pressure on.
Well, that is a lot of levels in the form of these range creeps, though. You see now actually just stunning the creep. He's just like, I want to confirm. With all this time being bought, Pamplona in trouble here. Is going to get found. But with no follow-up, Kara's not able to really output as much damage.
Well, and you look at the minimap and you see 5 heroes kind of sequestered to the top side of the map on Infinity, leaving Jug pretty much completely alone, unfazed, and that's sort of the prevailing issue with this game is all of the heroes on Ego Boys are so independent, they don't really need to combine to do things, but the support's gonna get punished.
Yeah, the support's getting punished for their early aggressive warding. However, they are going to be able to put up some good damage on the Pamplona.
Nice torrent.
Beautiful torrent will hold them both in place, but Alone is here and will actually throw out the wave. Doesn't hit Pamplona though, but Pamplona I believe has no more ticks of Maledict, and Tano going down to the rotation from now. You can see that Rise is just going to start TPing out. He doesn't want to do anything else here as soon as his supports are gone.
And that was a very good rotation coming in from the Wraith King. It's really difficult for him to find those opportunities like that, but the Eagle Boys were just a little bit too ahead of themselves. They were in the Infinity Woods a little bit too deep, and Alone wasn't able to find any great burst. He wasn't able to find any return kills, I believe.
You could say that their ego got the best of them.
Yeah, might have got the better of them, yes.
Dire's middle tower.
I'm sorry,
But-
Twitch chat.
At the same time, Little Boy has now been able to recover slightly. He's been able to find a little bit of space, and that fight even dragged Rises out of the bot lane, and he wasn't able to make anything, but they're going to keep on running at you with this Timber Saw.
I mean, that's what he's good at, and you can see Sexy Yogi loses all of his HP to the full rotation from Benjaz. Now is going to be targeted. These
the
cast
bat.
bounces are not happening, though, but Bat Rider is here. He'll burn up Alone a lot here. 3 seconds till the leap, but he is going to burn out to the lasso. And Benjaz actually slowed thanks to the resurrection as well as the follow-up lift out from the torrent. And
Triple.
Kara goes down as well. They fight 3 for just an Enchantress, definitely overextending.
It was a fantastic rotation in from Little Boy. He found the perfect target, and it's kind of the co-op's rule where if you blink in, you need to have a plan. Otherwise, it's such a long cooldown. 15 seconds at level 1, just not enough levels to really be this mobile co-op where you blink in, you get a kill, you play around the edge, and at the same time, it's the Kunkka pick, the X marks. He was able to stabilize the lane, and now, from the Ancient Camps, those are some kills you really didn't want to give up if you're Ego Boys.
The question stands on where this build might actually be going for PP now that he's getting quite a bit of farm and staying in these team fights. It's either going to be the Armlet build or, I mean, you got a Wraith King, so you're not going to run the Radiance build. But this Wraith King is just so far behind. I mean, I'd almost like to see a role swap when it comes to the items and just have PP go for the Radiance build.
He doesn't have
comes
stacks.
in, the X mark. Yeah, he's just kind of dead here. They're trying to not click him down. He has 15 stacks now, but, I mean, kind of too late when you're at 150 HP.
When you want to make these plays with the cart, his team just wasn't behind him in that situation, and it was a perfect punish from Infinity. They saw it. It was nobody had to stop to do what they were doing either. It was almost a drive-by.
And you could just see with this kill on the Timber Saw, they are given so much time to just run through their jungle and give them this outstanding vision right out the get-go. I mean, now they just have so much information with this, and Sexy Yogi.
Tano?
Roll does come in there from Tano. They do manage to slow him down, but the wand will be there to slow it. And the stun, actually. But Yogi, I think, is going to die to Magnetize. But that being the case, he expends a lot of... Oh, no, he didn't. And the roll is going to whiff, and... No, Alone will just finish him off.
Still, it's a lot of time. Time that I didn't think they really had allotted to them. But now with the Midas, it's... Once you get the Midas, it doesn't feel great, but he's had it for a few minutes now, and it's already started to pay its dividends as he's keeping up with the highest levels in the game. He, in fact, is the highest level in the game, I think, along there with Jug.
Ooh, now? No,
Yeah,
PP is
the
also
rating.
level 10. Boat into the stun. The follow-up torrent is going to whiff, but they will get it with the lasso.
And again, they want to make plays on Ego Boys, but it feels like they're just a little bit too separated. They're not playing together, and you asked what PP was going, and he's just going for a straight-up BKB. He's not playing around in this game. He doesn't want to deal with the Earth Spirit or the Cask. He just wants to get in, do his damage, and chill. Oh, Yogi.
Oh, it's getting found over here in the jungle. Will clip a courier on the way out, but it already went to Rise. He's got his items from that, and his items being the Battle Fury. Oh, I heard an
Mid.
X mark. Yep, they do end up X marking out Benjaz here. Might have been more of a defensive X mark, though, as he is trying to jump in, but I don't think he
the
realizes
pass.
how low the HP. Oh, never mind. They find a beautiful double Maledict into a beautiful 3-man scream, and they will end up killing off 2 here, and a little boy in the back lines. He's going to be in trouble, but no escape for him, and they will be able to find a 3 return from their previous engagement, but Benjaz just has no move speed. 8
And that's the
stacks.
rotation that you want to see coming in from your Jug. It's unfortunate that they did have to give away a few kills in the meantime, but with the healing word on Benjaz, that's the security. He had stacks that time as well, where even though they started that fight off in him, now it's Infinity who got a little bit of too far ahead of themselves and are easily punished with it. Maybe Ryze has just wanted his Battle Fury before making those rotations. But now, I mean, that rotation feels very good.
There wasn't even an Omni Slash used for that one. It was just purely throwing down Maledict with the wave. Like, they didn't even need the Death Ward. Like, that's just how confident they were with Timbersaw just leading into that fight. Leading in with those
Nothing
stacks.
lost.
Nothing of value was lost on this day. Well, I mean, you know, you gotta wait a minute and a half for the next team fight, but that's about
Yeah,
it.
I suppose, but now with the Orchid, we always see these teams smoking up with these very strong item timings, and the only hero they're looking for, they're most likely looking for Little Boy or Kunkka, but both are kind of difficult targets, as well as all of the heroes just being bottom. If anything, Benjaz is just going to right-click this tower, and they will get the glyph. It is going to delay them a little bit, but they don't have the best siege on Infinity Esports unless Now is able to actually physically hit the tower, so there might be a defense coming in top, but it's a little bit scary with the full 5-man of Ego showing. Oh, Little Boy's trying to cut.
I mean, he might pay with his life, but he doesn't end up getting hit with the slow from the Chakram. So they're just going to work with the backdoor protection that they don't have to fight yet. But the creep's dead. This should be back up momentarily.
Perfect little play from Little Boy just to ensure that the T2 stays alive, and that is an issue that they do have on Ego Boys, where their team fight is great, but they're straight up locked in. They don't have a blink stunner, and yeah, no Yuleses. And it looks like they got Earth Spirit trying to buy his Vitality booster.
I think he still ended up getting it, though. Oh, no, he's not. That was very close, actually. Didn't realize. Looks like they are going to still at least try to get this tier 2 tower. They are throwing in with the Clockwork Flare. But you can see that they're pinging up the high ground here. And Little Boy, Casket gets thrown.
Ooh.
But the bounce is going to be all the way over to the right side.
This
And
is
Omni
a little
Slash,
deep.
not on the greatest of targets, actually. But PP is going to be still in trouble as the silence is revealed. The boat going to change nothing at the end of the day. And I don't know, Pamplona actually comes in here. They're trying to find a good wave. They will still find it, and Little Boy taking quite a bit of damage from that. He starts the TP, and Benjaz able to finish off the confirm here. And Kara might be in trouble here, but no, Pamplona is going to get brought down immediately by the Witch Doctor Ward, and now Sexy Yogi as well, throwing hero to hero to hero onto the fire, and only makes it larger, as Ego Boys will claim 4 and the tower. With no actual trades happening, like now it's not able to get the push in. Of course, he's been free farming the bot lane during that team fight, but it's a situational trade.
And it feels pretty rough. And of course,
Trade, quote unquote.
Quap's rule is still in play. If you ever blink aggressively on Quap, you will die. And that's what happened with Alone. It was a good punishment coming out from the Clockwork, but still, you get the T2, you get all this space, and Healing Word is a big problem. And if Ego Boys just keep forcing these objectives, it doesn't matter that their lockdown is sort of poor. The real question is, will the item timings coming out on Infinity really change too much? Because they've got some big items in the works. The BKBs being the big ones, Radiance is completed on Wraith King. And that's when I think we're going to see more key objectives being found for both these teams.
Get this fat stack over here on Rises.
It's just all farmed.
I mean, he's running pretty good here. I think he was planning to SNY, but his courier got clipped on the drawback.
They're
'Cause,
saving
I mean,
the
looking
DD
at
on
his net
Rises.
worth, I mean, 36 plus 250. Battle Fury, real good item, you know. Remember when it was picked up on every hero? Even PL.
I do.
And Terrorblade.
I remember when it worked with Quelling Blade. I remember when Quelling Blade gave you percentage damage on creeps.
Oh
But,
yeah. That
they're
was
smoking
Kunkka
up with
every
PP's
game.
BKB.
Oh, player goes out, and I think
they need
Pamplona
to be
is more or less
careful.
the bait here, actually, as Rises pops the DD. Oh.
Oh.
This is an awkward one. I have to point out immediately that this is definitely one of the awkward pauses. Enchantress is still in the bot lane. The Earth Spirit, though, I mean, does he have a great escape if he can really get in there? He's currently brought up
he's
by
battery
the torrent.
assaulted. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. The bigger issue, I think, is Rises was very sneaky. He doesn't have Omni Slash just yet. The X is already going out onto the Witch Doctor to preemptively stop the Death Ward, but Little Boy might just turn around and lasso him or wait it out until the spin is over, and then there's a very good chance he just gets boated to his death. But then you also see the Timber just kind of gingerly sitting to the right of everyone, so take it away, Pete.
Yeah, not to mention Alone is sitting on the sidelines too, so if they want to get a good ult, they can. They will go for Kara first with the boat. They will be able to pick off one, and Tano still dies in the pit. Kara has to buy back immediately, though. Benjaz will come back in. They do find the lasso with the wave, but just finding a beautiful lasso. The Omni does go out, but there were two skeletons just hanging out here, and Rise is unable to find the finish off. They will at least get this kill on Little Boy, and Benjaz trying to at least apply some pressure to Pamplona, but slowed up by Enchantress and everything that is. It has to Yules defensively, but actually that was a Yules offense, and still, ooh, very close to dying there, but back up in the top. You see now his first life is expended, and Rises, he's like, I don't have anything else to spare. I hardly got any HP in the tank. Oh, they will be able to find Kara again. That's a dieback.
Well, and that fight went better and worse than I expected for both sides. No objectives were really gained, but Alone, again, he's getting a little bit too close in these fights. Any situation where the Bat Rider is able to lasso him, his positioning is a little bit too close, and at the same time, they were able to kite out. At least they were able to get the reincarnation from now, but he was really under no threat the entire time.
Well, they find Sexy Yogi as well.
He was bullying Benjaz that entire fight. If anything, the zoning of Benjaz was the thing to look out for, as Enchantress was literally just 1v1ing him for almost the entire fight.
Well, it looks like they still want to try to find some aggressive picks, but they're not going to find much around here. They're going to take the outpost. Being 30 seconds away, they're probably just going to make a walk over there if they want it back.
It's the only thing they really need to rotate for. Having this T2, it's just guaranteed XP. They can't recap the bottom one, and with Scotty in the works for Rises, that's a very scary item timing, and they're going to go hit the Roche Pit. After the flare faded as well, there might... Yeah, if they don't flare it right now... Okay, it's going.
Yep, there it goes. Rises at half HP, does have a healing totem available, and we'll throw it out. Healing
Perfect
ward,
placement
whatever.
for it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the way out here. They're not going to walk into the Roche Pit and be like, oh, where's this healing ward? Oh, it's
I
over
don't
here.
think they realize. I mean, they smoked up on Pamplona, and this might just be a steal play, as they're not set up to defend it at all. They scanned him out as well.
Well, they used all these spells and an Omni Slash out onto this fake Kunkka.
Oh, and he TP'd out as well. Wow.
I think if you're Infinity, you're kind of fine with the trade that kind of just happened here. You lose the Aegis, of course, but you just watched the Juggernaut Omni a Kunkka and Death Ward the Kunkka illusion.
No, that was very unfortunate. That was a fantastic scan, though, coming out, seeing that it was just a Clockwork acting alone, and the choice to give it up, I guess they really want to wait for some of these item timings, and they're just eyeing up Sexy Yogi.
I mean, Yogi knows there's nowhere he can really go here. Just gonna get slowly burnt down.
And now, I mean, with that Aegis pickup, Scotty's still in the works for Rises, but now is still farming. Now is still maintaining speed with the Juggernaut, and I'm not sure. It's always very difficult for these heroes to play versus the Wraith King, and he's so confident on it as well. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure we'll see the big team fight that'll define it sooner rather than later. It just feels like now has not been living it up too much in the moment. Kind of just been doing the full free farm scenario here. We've seen him in a couple of team fights so far. The one outside the Roche Pit's the first that comes to mind. Rises, okay, I was going to say. Solo
I like
over
this
here,
a lot. After the Sange queuing up the Blink Dagger, that's when we usually see these Wraith Kings getting involved in these fights. Is then he can find the two-shot on the Witch Doctor. Then he can force the Earth Spirit to cast spells. But Rises,
or, you know, might be able to find the kill on Rises. Starts the spin, but he actually had a TP available. I don't know why he didn't just TP off the get-go here, but Kara is there. They will throw out the Maledict. The wave goes through as well as the Death Ward.
He's
This is
living.
actually a pretty good one here, and they will find the kill in the Clockwork, but just no focus damage out onto the Wraith King. The first life won't be expended just quite yet. G-Pride trying to hunt
Tano.
around here, but they do find a good jump onto Tano, actually. The boat will clean him up. Little boy will be the one to confirm. He's trying to find a good lasso target, but he doesn't really care for Kara here, but bonus damage going out to the sidelines now will be claiming this kill, but the first life to be expended. Omni Slash up in 7 seconds, and he blinks
Nice
out
blink.
immediately. That's the fresh blink going out right there, but the silence is out onto this Bat Rider, and they actually still get him. Must have been a loose scream or something going after him.
And it was so close. They were kiting it. PP was the one so determined not to use his BKB there, and he wasn't forced to use it. He was not really the target of any of Eagle Boy's spells, and they were able to get the reincarnation actually before he popped level 18, so that will be on CD, but the Blink Dagger getting delivered while he was reincarnating, that was very fortunate. Otherwise now might have been in a little bit of trouble as he doesn't have a BKB of his own.
He's not queuing it up either. It's still going to be running at the AC plan here.
Oh.
They do a two-man smoke. They could run into Juggernaut down here in
They're
this
looking for
spot,
Tano.
but they're going to find Tano first, yeah. Alone is here, though, and as soon as Alone is revealed, now it's like, nope, 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 nope. They will be up on the kill on Tano, though. He's burning away from this spirit. Oh, he's just fine, actually.
Yeah, just barely. Less than 50 HP. And now he knows that in retrospect that was probably a little bit too fast, not having his ultimate for 46 seconds. If he stayed there, Benjas would have used him, it would have led to his death. It would have been a disaster for them. But they're still in it. They're still, if anything, they're still just playing the waiting game while dealing with Eagle Boy's aggression and trying to kill Courier. Rises, but has a Scotty in 50 gold.
I heard him pumping the Omni for it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it still dies anyway. The Witch Doctor OP right clicks. It's like one of the third heroes in Dota 2 that just has naturally high right click damage as a support. And then he gets the 60 damage talent at 10. I don't think anybody ever takes that though.
And we see as well, PP's got the Ags queued up. It's still the Torrent Storm. It's a very interesting spell, and it's quite good versus the Witch Doctor Earth Spirit. You kind of break their combo, but I don't know. I feel like you're running out of time a little bit. Even though you have this very strong Wraith King, he's still just ratting. He's still just trying to make space. And Eagle Boys, I think they need to get a little bit more done with this next stage. As I think, yeah, timing out in 35 seconds. There's probably not going to be a high ground this time around. But still, they're playing very safe. They're playing very measured.
I mean, why take a scary fight if you could just out-farm the scary? More or less. Scary carry. Clockwork Flare. Will they find Kara with this? I heard the Blink Dagger go off. Now wants it.
Oh, Benjaz?
But, yeah, Benjaz is here, and I don't know if this is the fight you want to take.
They are.
Well, I say that, though.
vision.
They're counter-fighting, actually. They do see Kunko over here, forcing out the BKB.
Oh, no.
And the hook is going to whiff. The Aegis just expiring, though. They will pick off Kara. They will pick off Rise's Courier. There's nothing in it, though. The Omni Slash is available, and you see him Omni the Kunkka immediately with a Sonic Wave that goes out, basically affirming the kill within seconds. Yogi will fall, and Tano to be traded. Cocktail thrown out. Alone is not going to be hit by that one, and the rest of Ego Boys, they're lining up. It will hit the stun on there.
They can keep now here. Little
Yeah,
Boy needs to
now
find a
is-
very good lasso.
Yeah, now is at half HP. They expend the first life. The blink will be up, but they need to time it right.
Oh,
Get the
nice.
silence. And Rise is actually brought up into a very precarious spot here, not able to get any sort of advancements.
And you see how difficult of time this Bat Rider is having with the itemization alone, with the Lincoln Sphere and already the Lotus Orb on Benjaz. It's so hard for him to find a lasso when he needs to be disabling these key targets in fights. But instead, they just get run over. PP takes an entire Omni Slash to the face, and with this Scotty, he's slowing him up so much. There's really no way for this Kunkka to walk out. And he's got a Basher queued up, and oh, top.
Nope. Yep. Tano. They do roll up onto Pamplona. Lore stuff. Did you hear what Queen said to the Clockwork there?
Unfortunately, I'm one of those boring people that has unit speech off.
You little Gonna have to request a different co-caster for the last day. I wonder if Neff is available.
Oh, but
Rises.
Stuff's happening.
Yeah, Dota! Video games! Looks like little boy's got a TP out of this one, though. This Maledict will burn him off, even with the BKB on, since it was applied beforehand, would still take him down. And I feel like this game is just going to kind of lag down to win Roche, do Roche. But Tano stuck up on the hill here. They actually put down now pretty quickly. His HP is just gone. It's the power of Benjaz here. They will boat defensive, but Alone comes in. The wave is available, looking for a good angle, and they will get one. But the Torrent Storm is here, buying a lot of extra time for the disengage. But Alone comes in. The silence immediately out onto Alone, actually out onto Kunkka there. I thought it ended up hitting onto Pamplona there, but they want PP instead. They get him. The X mark's on Tano, so he's not going to be able to keep off the damage there, keep up the roll. But they get two really good picks, and now they revealed the Torrent Storm, but still just Eagle Boy's completely unfazed.
Well, and you see with the Torrent Storm, it's a really strong Ags, but is it? It hit no one there. It's one of those Ags that's really feast or famine in how strong it feels. You weren't stunning up the Quap without a BKB. You didn't get lucky, and in that situation, you just went down for relatively free. At the same time, they kite out the BKB, and this is the issue of buying your BKB so early, is now you're going to have a 6-second BKB after this use, and then every single fight is going to be such a fast engagement where if you aren't able to get the damage out onto these heroes, then you're not going to have BKB. You can't show. You need to kite it out, and Eagle Boys are so good at kiting the enemy team into them. Just with the spin, with the Timber Chain, they can always disengage out of a fight they don't want to take part in.
Sorry, I thought my dogs were about to go ham.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean, the BKB timer is going to be the biggest thing. I don't even think the Wraith King is going to end up running for one, because like after the Kunkka being their main initiation and their Torrent Storm, like you're talking about, it's not going to do anything come later. Even a 5-second BKB during a team fight in Torrent Storm isn't going to do anything. Roll.
Oh, Yogi.
Yeah, I mean, this is the life of the supports,
Rises?
right? They will find Yogi, but I mean, in the meantime, they get the lasso out on the Jug. He's perma-stunned for a year and a half. Boat goes through. He's silenced up. No Aegis, no nothing. He will go. No, he gets the Omni off at 133 HP. It actually goes to the top creep wave. He's going to be perfectly fine. He's got a pocketed Lincoln Sphere on him. He's going to actually escape from this. Tano buying back from this. And
Alone?
They might be able to find Alone here. Oh, just blinks out just in time. But Alone, he turns around, dropping a Sonic Wave defensively, and he's going to get out from this torrent. The TPs are there. The X mark? No, not there.
Everything was so tight there. All of the heroes on Eagle Boys were so close to death. That was a perfect initiation. They got it onto the Jug somehow. I think because he wasn't able to Lotus Orb him, because he did lead that all off with his spin, and being able to survive like that, they just lost focus for a second. Losing the clockwork on that initial go on the Jug was so critical. They didn't have that second initiation, and that's sort of the issue with their draft, where now that they have all of these Lotus Orbs, all of just the spin, the Lotus Orb, the Lincoln Sphere, PP can't hold them down. And again, it just felt like the Torrent Storm wasn't able to keep them there even longer, and all of those kills, missing out on them is so big.
I feel like Tidal Wave almost feels better than a Torrent Storm in this game.
At least Tidal Wave you can put in a direction, you know?
Right.
You can hit heroes with
it feels like you would be able to get a lot more like work out of that one. It's almost the equivalent of sending a Sonic Wave, not damage-wise, but just pushing the heroes into a more preferable position. But it's just, you felt like you were talking about, the lack of damage that comes from picking up that item. There's not really anything else that the Kunkka would have ended up going that could have given them that advantage. I mean, you see him queuing up the silence next. But yeah, you see Infinity. Respawn. This is a desperation smoke, but not so much so that they'd be losing quite a bit from this.
Well, and now he's playing a perfect game. He is deathless. His items are very strong, and if he's able to find and just stick on a hero, he still does a lot of damage, but I think they've navigated out of it. They were in the hot zone for a second there, but a counter smoke.
Yeah, it looks like Ego, they want to find a good maybe return, but they want to bait this Roche. It is up. This is the cheese. And they see that the Mud Golem's out here just having a whale of a time. Player goes through and they find zero information on it, and Rise is just like, all right, I'm just going to click this. Heck this Mud Golem.
And I hope Rises does queue up the Ag Shard soonish. Now that he has the Skull Basher, it really is scary. Whichever hero he's spinning on just takes so much damage, but not going for the Jug build that we typically see in other regions. Instead, just getting a lot of stats, and I mean, he is quite tanky. And any other build, he would have died in that lasso top.
It's like they're just sending creeps out continuously to make sure that this Roche is just not happening.
Yeah, they're just trying to push into waves, making sure that if they do go into the Roche, they're going to get speed of it. And it is still difficult. You never want to really go into Roche whenever the rocket flare is up. It's just, that's how important the vision game is. But, oh, Tano?
Yep, he is going to get found here. The Invis Rune's not going to help him out and brought up to the high ground there, but able to roll back down, but the Wraith King blinking in just in time. They'll be able to find the kill on Tano. Meanwhile, on the sidelines here, you see a BKB going out by Little Boy, and just alone gets a beautiful 3-man with this, and the Omni Slash, the Torrent Storm does go out, but it's too little too late. Nobody's really dying from this one. The whole entire Witch Doctor Death Ward gets thrown out there. They do manage to put down Kara, and Alone is still dead here, but Benjash just burning him up with the very undervalued by me, the caster, Flamethrower, but they will find this kill out on the Enchantress. You get the 3 for 3 evened up here, but it's just the Batrider being a not a less gold pickup here, but I mean they trade two supports and a core for double core and a support. It's still heavily worth it for Ego Boys.
Well, and I'm assuming Rises is just kind of looking at this outpost. He can't go into Roche without his team, even though there are only 2 alive on the Infinity side. But that was a picture-perfect way to start that fight as well. They got the lasso onto the Quap, but at this stage of the game, that Jug Omni Slash, you have to be so careful grouping up like that. They were getting cleaved so hard, the 3 of them. And Alone, as sort of a death cry, was able to get off that Sonic Wave where even if he went down, it was enough to pop that Wraith King ulti and scare PP away, as that BKB is now sitting at a 5-second. And he has to be so careful for the rest of the game whenever he casts that. And he's got the Orchid coming up to try and punish this BKB-less Quap, but even she is trying to queue it up, and once that's there, I don't know what they're going to do to hold down this Quap, as she's already very difficult for them to maintain.
Do you go for you go Sonic Wave damage then, right? If you end up having a pre-built Lincoln Sphere then for Alone? I mean, how much
But then
actually...
you have 2 Lincolns.
Yeah, 2 Lincolns is pretty nice. You could always cast one on somebody else, and you'll have the 22nd one of your own.
I believe your Lincoln's always pops first, which is better because it's the 12-second, whereas that is the 18-second. I imagine that's what he's going to go for. It's also one of those abilities or 25s that you don't see it visually. There's nothing there. It's just words. So it's something that messes up the Batriders, I feel.
Yogi.
Again, they got him.
I mean, the life of the support. It's how do. It's better that he ends up going down instead of this Wraith King.
It's very strange to see Alone finish the backswing of his current right click before the attack actually flies because of the untouchable. Gotta love Enchantress.
Yeah, remember when untouchable wasn't the ult?
Oh, how can I forget?
Yeah, people would go untouchable at 1 just so they could click you forever. Like, man, that was a meta, you know? That wasn't even that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
That was 7. No, it wasn't 7.
I still can't remember before there weren't 5 couriers. I can't imagine how we survived back then.
Dude, it sucked. I was the mid player in that patch when we still had 1 courier. I mean, everybody was that sort of scenario. Everybody remembers the hell that was.
They're not even showing up for this fight because they can't. They were able to stall out, kill this mid wave with the glyph, but Rises will stick around just to finish it off, and they're not coming back. They don't really want to. They want to delay as much as possible. They still need more items.
He's pumping the healing word. It's there now, and there's that Lincoln Sphere coming into play. The backdoor protection will slow this down. They are going to start rotating in some of their heroes. They got Pampelona here, but I mean, like it was like you were talking about, there's nothing they can really do. You see the Wraith King TPing in now, but it might be too little too late. Stun goes through, it is going to be reflected. They do have Omni. And this Rax is dead. Not the full, though, just the 1. Lincoln's going to be heartbroken.
Matters no less, though, and it's so difficult. They feel so safe. They don't really have the heroes to get around on an Infinity Esports, and they don't have that Ravages coming from behind you. These heroes aren't necessarily smoking and trying to get that leg up. whereas they really just have to run at you. They're not nearly as mobile as the Eagle Boys are, and you just see with the healing ward, with the Sanj and Yasha, I mean, Rises is nearly impossible to kill with that's going on, and it feels so difficult for them to find a fight. They just put everything on Rises, and he just stands proud. Oh no.
Oh, they missed the clockwork hook, but they might be able to find Kara here, and they do. Torrent's going to be pumped, and they will find it. But now, I mean, you see Rises showing off that new Abyssal Blade. He turns to Omni, the very dead Bat Rider. No Ghost Scepter or anything like that. Yogi next to fall. Now pops BKB, but he's already very low. But there's the lift out onto the Co-op and the Torrent Storm to keep on lifting her. She does have cheese, but she keeps getting lifted. The Torrent Storm paying off. The Bat Rider also buying back here, but there's a lot of damage already going out here. Rises isn't even clicking on the main team, and PP will still fall. The first life for the Wraith King will be expended. The Aegis still available. And you do see the rest of Ego. They still have everything else. They want to poise up and turn back around. They will find Little Boy here as he's hit with the Abyssal Blink. There goes the tip as well, and they want to keep going, but the blink out just in time from this Wraith King. They're not going to be able to get that catch.
And that was a dieback on the Bat Rider as well. And yep, he's trying to cut waves with Sexy Yogi. They're trying to kill these waves as fast as they can to stop any push, but I think at least the tier 2 bottom's next, but they're even looking for the Wraith King, trying to push out this mid wave, and Rises is having none of it. And again, you got the Quap. It was super breakneck. He doesn't have his BKB yet because he's still trying to be as greedy as possible, but it took so long. They had to expend so much, and because of how low that Kunkka's BKB is, after that BKB is over, then Tano comes in. He uses all of his spells, slows him up, and he's just fodder for the Jug.
Well, I think that I was going to say they want to try to force buybacks with this, but the Kunkka, I think that we've already seen. No, the Kunkka is just money-wise. There's only one buyback that went out. It was the Bat Rider. Yeah, there's no glyph. This is just another set. Like, they can't defend it. Again, you see the Wraith King now is just farming up here in this top lane. Because, like you said earlier, they know they can't do anything.
You know, this is starting to feel like a worst-case scenario, as now Infinity are kind of stuck here where they're not able to make any plays. He has the Orchid on Kunkka, and that's the reason why they got the Quap kill, but
it's Divine time, ladies and gentlemen. Now picks up the Divine. That's what he's been doing up in this top lane this whole time. He's got a pocketed Sanj. It's do or die. Like, he's got nothing else but that.
And they smoke up. They need to find the Quap. They need to kill her, make it as easy as possible for them to continue to fight, but it is do or die. If they lose this next fight, if they lose the Divine, there's no hope. There's no buybacks, except for the Kunkkas, I suppose. But even that, if you lose this Wraith King's Rapier, it's going to feel like the game's over.
G-Pride, they're lightly smoked as well. The Juggernaut just running around with his current smoke at the moment with a ninja gear. He's actually calling in the Courier to go straight for the Ags. Like, this is... They found nothing with this. And now doesn't want to reveal himself, but he's actually going to... Okay, there's no ward. I thought he was going to walk over a Radiant ward, but it's just dire wards at this triangle now.
Well, and at this point, with the Ag Shard now, I mean, he's got the Ags queued up, and this game is still barreling down an Eagle Boys victory. There's not much they can do. On the side of Infinity, even when you start the fight off on this Queen of Pain, she's not able to get the cheese off. The Jug is just too massive at this point. And that's why you have this Divine Rapier. You're trying to kill these beefier units, but the team fight, everything needs to go perfect for Infinity. Otherwise, there's no way they win.
And I just feel like, with that being the case, Eagle Boys, they don't want to still push it. I mean, yes, it's a 23k net worth lead. Your Juggernaut is very farmed. He's actually 10-0. I thought he definitely died at one point in time. But I feel like this is just going to be a game of wait for the next Roche, and it could respawn in the next minute and a half. And that Roche is going to be the big definer of the next overall fight, because it's either they walk the Wraith King in there, get the Aegis, and they have the Aegis Divine, which they now might have seen. They saw now for a quick second there. But I don't think they saw it quick enough.
And they're just going to continue to remove the map control out of Infinity's hands. Even if they ping him, it's still so scary. They saw the Lotus Orb used, but even that's just not a good enough jump. And Roche is the only objective that will draw Infinity out of their base. Otherwise, I don't think Eagle Boys are going to risk it. Instead, they're going to continue farming up as there is still room to grow. But Quap having her BKB now, just waiting to farm up buyback, it feels like Eagle Boys have none of the pressure on them. It's all on Infinity at this point.
Well, the courier's sitting inside this Roche pit. We're going to know in 30 seconds. They're going to know in 30 seconds. The last smoke goes out.
Oh.
Now, they're trying to go on to Rises, but they actually are going to find the rest of the roster on the backlines here. And now the Divine Rapier is going to be revealed as Tano loses all of his HP in one right click. They will find the kill on Sexy Yogi and Pampelona. And meanwhile, Rise is just solo killing PP over here. He doesn't even Omni yet. He is going to be lifted up, though, and he actually does go down here. That's huge for them. He buys back immediately to TP into the outpost, but will it be enough? And on time is the question, as their supports and heroes are slowly dying. Now still with the first life, though. They know that he has this Divine. He loses the first life. There's no real support. PP, he's gone. The Omni is available. He bashes because he's got the Jug Shard. He bashes again. The Divine hits the floor. The buybacks saving their game, and Rises with the Divine Rapier is going to walk into the buildings. But Wraith King did have enough money for buyback after doing all that in transaction and fights.
And it's a good shot, but now he can't show up. No one can show up.
The Omni,
fact, if they get too close.
Omni is still live as well. Omni with the Abyssal is still there.
Well,
and now he actually doesn't even have his ult. I mean, they don't. Do they know that though? I mean, they lost Tano. They dropped the gem. Pampelona actually grabs it.
I wonder if they get scared now. I mean, Rises isn't confident enough to get the mega creeps. He knows if he dies, the game really is over.
Well, the other scenario is that the Roche is up.
Wraith King.
There's that as well.
That is true. Respawning in, what, 1 minute and 20 seconds, but still holding on by the skin of their teeth, using, all of their buybacks. They didn't need to use PP's buyback, but now, he's just got another one queued up. He knows where he's at.
I mean, there's only one answer to this game, and that is just running down with the Divine Rapier. And, I mean, the only problem is now is that there is a Divine Rapier in play, and it's not yours. And it's on the one hero that definitely is scary when he has it. Plus, he has the Shard as well, so randomly hitting for 75% of the damage.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Yeah,
Pretty scary.
It shows just how powerful that Divine is. That was a 3v5 because of the fantastic plays coming in from Tano, where he deleted both supports. He even baited now to stun him and popped a BKB of his own. But even with all that, still weren't able to cleave into the Jug. And even though they were able to burst him, perfect buyback. Rises knows exactly where he stands, and getting that Divine Rapier, you're right. If either core dies, it's incredibly scary. They have to contest this Roche. I think if with an Aegis, there's just no threat anymore for Ego Boys. They're just going to be able to hit that last Rax and get Megas, and then the game gets even more complicated for Infinity.
And it's time. Roche is up. In 2, 1.
Wait for it.
He knew. Oh, and it's the accent as well. This is actually a really good one. I don't know who will actually take it. The double Chakram's not bad. Enchant Remnant's not going to work.
It's got to be the Jug if he can.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be the gold refund. He'll be able to have the slot. No, he's... Oh, yeah, he doesn't even have one. Yeah, you can see him queuing it up, but... Ooh, the smoke from Infinity broken immediately.
Yeah, they were baiting him out. If anything, they were trying to get the smoke out of Infinity's hands. Just, they want him to be as far away from the pit as possible. That's why Rises won't start hitting it, because they know. You see the side lanes. They know that Team Infinity is somewhere, and as now shows mid, they know that they're somewhere in this vicinity. And at this point, I mean, the creeps are barking on the door. You have to be really careful with how you engage us on Infinity Esports, because I don't think they can give this up.
Radiant are scanning.
Oh, Scan's gonna
Drop a
land.
Scan. They know there's people on this hill. Looking at the buybacks now, there's only 2 buybacks that are not available, both the cores. That's what this team fight is going to be based around.
And what patience from Ego Boys, just letting the creep waves go, and they know that if they start this, there's a chance that they can lose Rises, but instead, all of the creeps are doing the hard work. They've got double carts in the top wave, and Yogi will break the silence, but this is not good.
Yeah. This Rax is taking quite a bit, and they have to TP out the Wraith King, which kind of gives them a little bit of free reign to click on this Ancient, to click on the Roshan here.
Well, and they have to be so careful if Benja sees everyone.
He finds one. He finds PP first. The slow and insidious burn.
Oh, no.
Basher. Yep, there it is. The Abyssal Blade. PP's down. And that is one of the few heroes with no buyback. I think he actually bought in because I saw he had buyback for something beforehand. He bought refresher. So he doesn't have buyback. And this is the free Roche. You just see them going amp. Jugs in here. It's it.
And now with this Roche forfeited, I mean, it was already feeling quite bad as you had to TP back on the Wraith King to even just hold on to your racks. But again, you have no lockdown. You weren't able to catch Alone, so Alone pretty much killed your top melee racks at its 200 HP. You lose your Kunkka, who doesn't have buyback for 65 seconds, and this is it. This is Doomsday. We've arrived.
You have 2 racks left to your whole entire name. Of course, the racks isn't even what's the big issue here. It's the very slow and insidious burn that is the fact that they have to be careful of Jug. And he 3-clicked that remaining HP racks. They've got Megas, and this tower's just chunking away. Look at it go. He's got the Ags now, too. He ate the Ag synth from that one. The Wraith King is bottom. Does he have a TP? He is TPing back.
They're running out. They don't have Glyph. It's over.
Well,
They've lost.
Voodoo switcheroo, the Divine Rapier. They will go ahead and lasso up the Jug, and they just drop the GG because they see the Ancient has been clicked down to death. So Ego Boys will take this game number 1 in this series so far.
Incredibly patient, incredibly measured play from Ego Boys. To start it all off, I felt like they really had the upper hand coming in from that draft. They really forced Infinity's hand even before the game started. Just by the way they were picking their heroes, they really showed the strength of having that first pick, and they got everything they wanted. I didn't feel like they were countered. I didn't feel like they really had any issues in getting the lanes they wanted and getting the best matchup out of each lane. In all 3 of them, you can't lose 3 lanes in Dota. And even though Now had a great performance, he had the Divine Rapier. You see, he ends the game 13-2-8. It just wasn't enough for them.
It's honestly crazy that that just having first pick alone is such a big decider when it comes down to winning or losing a draft. It used to be for a long time, it was people picked Radiant every time and didn't care about the picks because Radiant had a tactical advantage. It still kind of feels like that now, actually. Let me go to the graphs. If the win probability starts in this... Yep. Win probability started on the side of the Radiant, so I'm giving that one the fact that it gives it the extra 5% towards the Radiant side. But you're right. Their draft was practically free. So it is a best-of-2 series, though, guys. It was a long game, believe it or not. And for those of you who don't know, there is no series after this. It is a best-of-2 series between Ego Boys and Infinity, and that's where it's going to stop. The series after that, which I believe was the 4 Zoomers versus 5-Man Midas game, has gone to forfeit. 5-Man Midas has had forfeited the series, giving 4 Zoomers that 2-0 takeover. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Game number 2 of Ego Boys versus Infinity will be up right around the corner. BTS Pro Series number 5, Infinity Esports versus Ego Boys. Party PD, play-by-play caster, ET, my co-caster. Guess what? We got Alchemist. It got left in. And I would say GG go next, but the last Alch we did get did not win the game.
He did get bopped. He did get bopped. But a little bit better of a little more powerful infrastructure this time around. And I mean, this is the power. I like to talk a lot about how they have this very powerful first phase if you have last pick, and getting this kind of it's now thrown. The gauntlet has been thrown. We've got an alchemist that you're playing against it. I'm not sure if Tiny Dark Willow. These are some very strong heroes, but I don't know if that's the out counter. I think that's why Ego Boys really just slammed it. We've also seen Ego Boys, the South American team that really values Alch, I think more so than any of the others, as typically we've seen the Alch not getting banned in the second phase and even being able to be picked in that third or fourth position. But now the gauntlet's thrown. Infinity Esports need to figure out a way to deal with this Alch. Otherwise, I just say bye-bye. 26-minute win incoming.
I mean, we did see that at one point in time they had banned an AA, which was one of the go-to counters for an Alchemist, but that wasn't even in the Alchemist game. That was just in a completely different game where I was theorizing Alchemist pickup. But last time we saw the Alch do really good, though, was when it was picked in the 4th total pick in the second phase.
Yes, and in addition to that, I think we've also seen it with a few other drafts where they just slam it down, they ban out. Usually we see the Timbersop ban. I hope we see that coming up here. Otherwise, Ego Boys might be in a little bit of trouble. But with these counters really kind of removed out of the pool, it's going to be rough. It's an uphill battle already. And you see Ego Boys, they're already prioritizing the core matchups. They want the Weaver out. They want the Invoker out. And at the same time, Ego Boys having Alone in their team, it's very troublesome for Rises to get one of his best heroes and then Alone also getting last pick. It's very scary, very daunting.
Well, it looks like it is coming down to that decision for this last ban on the Timbersaw or just another core delete. And maybe they're just okay. They're not afraid of Timber unless they take it themselves.
And that could be a possibility. It is one of the heroes that plays decently well versus Tiny and Dark Willow. Unless the Tiny's core, you really outpace him, especially if he's a 4. It's a hero that doesn't really do much versus you. But they will go with the Tusk. Very safe pick. A hero that they really enjoy. And I don't think you want to be playing Earth Spirit again just because the Dark Willow matchup is quite bad. The Brambles everywhere. It makes team fighting hell on that hero.
10 seconds remaining.
Here, can you cover just real quick?
5 seconds
going down.
That means I'm going up. I can say whatever I want now, and Pete can't stop me.
I can still hear you.
Oh, but Infinity Esports looking for an offlaner now to fill the void, and it could still be that Timbersaw. Timbersaw is one of the heroes that have been proven to be one of the most successful in the BTS Pro Series 5. It is a little bit scary versus the Tusk. There is a lot of physical damage that can just sort of surprise you and overwhelm you, especially if you aren't able to get the stacks off in between these lanes. At the same time, this Tiny, very flexible. They could be looking at their safe laner, maybe deciding instead to go for the Juggernaut. Isn't the most fantastic versus Tusk just because you can always punch him out of that spin, so split pushing is a little bit less available to you. But matches up, again, very well versus the Alchemist. A hero we did not see banned was the Monkey King. And Monkey King could definitely be an avenue they go down as, again, matches up very well versus the Alchemist. He struggles versus the Monkeys. He's very easy for the Monkey to contest the Alchemist farm. And with this pickup...
Oh, I'm back, and I just saw just in time. I'm like, I kept on hearing what you were saying. I'm like, I mean, it's all very great points, and then just the Dazzle gets picked up. And like everything kind of went out the window.
My book's out the window. Yeah, read off a script and it doesn't matter. But
now we see the win being the response to that. It's actually not that bad since Dazzle's Poison Touch can still deal damage, I believe, through the through Wind Run. Of course, you just won't be able to reset it.
Exactly, and it kind of defeats any possibility of this Dazzle per se being mid. I was assuming it was going to be off lane pretty much off the get-go, and we did see Now, in the game that we did see it own, it was Dazzle Tusk, and that was miserable for Dogchamp when that team was able to run it. But instead, you pick up alone a hero that he knows he can win 90% of, not even winning 90% of matchups, but he can go even with that hero in pretty much every situation. You see, that's the respect, and that's the downside of having last pick. But it's interesting that they don't save last pick, like last pick for him. I guess not wanting to get a lot of his heroes banned, as they now need to look for an offlaner, I think, to round out their lineup. Unless, of course, they would like to flex that Windrunner into the offlane.
Team back.
But there are some calls they need to make.
I was gonna ask,
Okay.
does Infinity have a Meepo player?
Dire team back.
I don't think so.
Okay, then this isn't the Meepo draft. Last time I saw a weird draft kind of scrappy like this, it was like the Meepo was the last pick. But I think with the Storm Spirit now, though, that possibility is completely out the window. There's actually not many. I don't think there is any
10
Meepo
seconds
players in
remaining.
NA,
Radiant
at least that are
team back.
in this tournament.
Yes, I think that's one of the heroes that, especially in this region, have just been phased out. It's just not. It's one of those heroes that are, while still viable in very niche situations, it's just not good. It's not a good enough trick to have in the back pocket.
10
Whereas other
seconds
teams
remaining.
are very more so focused on having very strong laners, very better at the spirits, better at all of these other heroes. It's not a bad hero to learn, but I know I'm not going to learn Meepo.
No, I could hardly even do Lone Druid, let alone Meepo. I have a friend who won't play PL. That's how much he's like nowhere close to possibly being a Meepo player.
Oh boy. But the Storm is a decent answer. We did see it. In fact, it was actually Angel versus the Mars, and I guess in that case, I'm thinking of the Storm Spirit versus the Alchemist, where you will have to kite him around. This is a hero where if there isn't a lot of lockdown in the game already, the Storm Spirit will be able to, in other words, run around and do a lot of plays. But at the same time, if this wind is going to be mid, that's not a very good matchup for the Storm Spirit. And if you ever get shackled, it's always something you need to be scared of, especially if you commit on a target. And in Infinity Esports think they need an offlaner. They do take out the Timber, which is interesting to me. Maybe picking up a strength safe laner, but Ursa already taken out, Leicester taken out.
Do you think Io has anything in here?
I would
10 seconds
think
remaining.
that they could maybe run it, but I don't think they have a strong enough 5. They would have to make it the Dazzle. In fact, I just don't like Infinity's draft, I think. It's a little bit too much for me. And they do go for the Jug. A very stable hero, but at the same time, you're playing versus an Alchemist. Jug is one of the few solutions, though, that I did list up there with Monkey King. But now, Eagle Boys with 210 reserve time, they can really figure out whichever. I mean, they just get to figure out
10
everything now.
seconds remaining.
They're under no time pressure. They get to very calmly decide whether Alone's on the wind or if they want to pick an offlaner in instead.
I mean, they actually have 2 minutes to make this. Like, they spent 0 reserve time this game so far.
Now, we could be here for a while, but
Well, I mean, we could be here for 2 minutes.
very
That is
true.
a long while, though. We're just sitting here watching the reserve time tick down. Would be
Well, and I'm trying to picture heroes, but most of the nice thing about seeing these early cores picked up in the draft is you do get to target ban a lot of offlaners, as we see in Infinity Esports bans. But I think the big question is whether or not you want this Wind Ranger to now be your mid or your offlane. And Wind offlane isn't bad versus the Jug. If he ever spins, you don't really care about it, especially with the focus fire. And if he ever omnis you, I mean, that's a joke to Windrunner until you get that MKB. But in which case, they could just look to counter the Storm Spirit as well, where even though Alone Wind versus the Storm Spirit's very scary, I think Alone could play a multitude of other heroes in the same capacity.
I'm just being like left at the edge of my seat with their last pick. I mean, they could actually literally do anything too. Like, they could run the weirdest safe laner possible and just swap out the lanes completely. Or they could just do like a mid OD. I mean, it's not good against Storm. Like, that wouldn't really work out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what the verdict is that they're looking for either an aggressive mid or a forward offlaner.
Basically. And then there's the other part of me that's like, or they could just pick Brood. It's a pretty good Brood game.
I mean, actually,
but-
this is a really good Brood game. There's not much they'd be able to do to contest
But
it.
Alchemist Brood is not a thing,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
that's not a farming game. I mean, they
But-
would need somebody that's not a power farmer too, like that wouldn't need consistency with all the farm. I mean, I think Quap is still okay here.
When a
Go for
large
the Void
number of
Spirit.
Your heroes.
Yeah, and it's not a bad pick in any stretch of the imagination, especially with this tiny offlane. They really don't have a lot of gas in the tank, and with those targeted offlane bans, they do just decide to run the offlane wind, and it makes sense. It is very good versus the jug, specifically in lane, and now we'll definitely struggle. That's not a very easy lane, especially with Benjaz. Oh, it's actually going to be offlane Tusk. We're going to see it again.
All right. I'm actually a big fan of the offlane Tusk. We saw it in our previous series, not last game, but in our previous series for the last game of that one, and
Paired with an Enchantress and an Alchemist again.
yeah, this
And
is
a Windrunner. Wait, what is happening?
it's
this just-
practically mirror draft, just Void Spirit is the last pick instead.
Instead of a Storm Spirit.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Ego Boys might be taking a note out of somebody else's book here, but
I mean, let's
still,
be honest.
I mean, it's even worse
Everybody-
for the jug.
Everybody takes from everybody else's playbook. That's why they do scrims. They're like, wow, that was really good. Let's do that in our own game one day. And then they do it in their own game, and they're like, man, we're really bad at this. And then they just never do it again.
Well, and that's why the good teams, they keep it in the bag, until the back is against the wall. I remember VP saving strats, or even OG saving those strats up until TI, and then it was just like, oh, nobody has enough time for this. I guess we're just going to lose versus OG. And then they
What do
win
we
2
do? I
TIs.
guess we lose.
Yeah.
Oh, winning 2 TIs, man. It's going to be so weird to come into this end of this season, go into the next one, and then there's TI. It's so weird to
Yeah.
think that it's not around the corner, more or less, but it's happening.
There's still a lot
Supposedly.
of Dota. There's still a lot of Dota, but it's very it's cool, but you're right. It feels like it's close and not close at the same time.
I mean, I assure you, a lot of teams are looking forward to the international. Not even just teams that may or may not be attending it, just the existence of it, because it is one of our best sort of direct advertisement, more or less. Because then, everybody starts going like, well, leagues got X amount of prize pool and they got all this. And it's like, yeah, but do you have a $38 million prize pool? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. If anything, that was the smartest play Valve could have made, was even with the first one. $1 million sounds a lot cooler than $360,000 or whatever prize pool they could have set it at, because it really could have been anything. But that's really the biggest tool I think Valve has used over the years to excite people. Because you hear Anna's 6 millionaire or something after winning 2 TIs. It's the dream. It's living through someone else vicariously. But
Where even is Anna? Are we at the point in time where
probably
Anna's
on
just
some
not
beach.
playing Dota again, and then he's got to show up for a TI and win again?
he's in the gravity chamber. He'll come out. He'll be 2 inches taller. He's gonna have even more CS. It's gonna be
He's gonna be.
We'll see
buff.
what happens. Exactly.
Battle begins.
That'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll find out when TI comes around.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, I think what could make or break Infinity's lineup here is, even in the game where we saw the ALK lose, which was in a much harder position with the Chaos Knight lane, is this is a Dazzle versus ALK. This does kind of suck. You're just going to get right-clicked. If you ever get tossed back, Pamplona is really the one who's going to make or break this lane, I feel. And making sure this Enchantress card does not have too good of a time, because if he does get too many creeps, if he gets a little bit too much momentum going for the ALK, then it's really going to be difficult to get back that ground once you've lost it.
And we also saw just how effective a Dazzle was, although it was against the Death Prophet combo, just how effective it was overall. I mean, Kara's not going to be able to do much very early. I mean, there's the creep contest they could kind of do. I guess they could always just stack a creep on top of Rises so the tossback doesn't happen. Little
what's
Boy, though,
happening?
actually, might be the first pick
Oh,
here.
he's gone.
Yeah, he's... Oh, what?
Oh.
Fairy Fire, but
Now-
meanwhile, in the mid, or bot, actually, they pick off Tano.
And I didn't expect him to get Shadow Wave level 1, because I just didn't even think that was a possibility in my mind. But Rises will take the creep wave back, and yeah, bottom, they got a little bit too ahead of themselves. They ran into a few too many brambles, and I guess he just got too low.
I mean, that's what it is, right? We saw it yesterday that these Dark Willow players... I just saw that courier get clipped. I zoomed away from it for 1 second. We saw that these Dark Willow players really know how to navigate Bramble to make it to where there's some that are just straight up invisible.
At the same time, though, in this bot lane, they do have to be very cautious. If they get a little bit too many levels on Benjaz, and he is the offlane Tusk, he does hit quite hard, and if they get a Shards block off or they're able to get the stun out, I mean, Yogi's just denying creeps. What a beast. But the spin is a very long cooldown, and that's the cooldown that they're going to continue to pressure whenever he does use it aggressively.
And he can't ever really use it defensively, because it was like you were talking about too with the wind just being able to turn it around at any given time. But we do see the Brambles. We'll be dedicated here. Yogi might be in a bit of trouble, but slipping into the Shadow Realm there. We find that it's just going to be a lane of continuous trades. And going back to your original point, on top of the spinning, basically.
Yeah, and they do just have to be... nobody wants to die in these lanes because... Oh, alone?
Yeah, I was seeing alone going a bit of a damage fight there, but PP actually...
He baits him to the low ground. Oh boy.
It seemed like it was a 50-50 there for a little while.
And the only issue is because of the situation you have with this Alchemist, Kara might be able to send a creep, or he might put the creep in his stead, but you don't want to leave Rises alone. But with the way that the lane has been going, Pamplona has just been cutting the creep waves as many as he can, just because it's very difficult for Little Boy to actually lane after the way this lane started off. We haven't been feeling the really big presence coming in from this Dazzle, and that's why you saw that previous team pairing it with Tusk, where it's just a little bit of a more viable hero. Pamplona is not even level 2. They're really struggling in this top lane to pressure the Alk.
I also wanted to point out that it took a really long time for Pamplona to figure out what he wanted at level 1. Like, he got tossed, I think, when he was already halfway to 2. Well, he does have the ass top to toss have a combo, but Rise is taking a huge chunk of damage. Will it be enough? Yeah, it will. It will be split by the tower. But one way or another, this is what you were talking about. Rises has to be very careful of this combo.
And a combo that couldn't happen up until, exactly, he hits level 2, and then everything kind of breaks out. But now we're fighting over the runes.
Yep, it is rune time, and it looks like the stack up here is going to be Pamplona grabbing
nice
it,
shackle.
but a full power full shackle there. And Pamplona will be likely going down here alone, at least trying to trade in some damage here, but not able to get much beyond that. There is a courier here. PP will be able to get... No!
Oh my goodness.
Just in time. The power shot coming through there on Tano. I think he just got it too. Like, he just turned level 3 and
yeah, he just turned level 3, skilled it up. Even he most likely would have survived, but the salve coming in from Kara as well, guaranteeing that now he's going to be A-okay in lane. That was quite unfortunate for PP. I'm surprised we didn't see Sexy Yogi getting involved, but he really doesn't want to leave his jug, and they keep on doing this. They want to spec into now. They want to have him have a very successful lane to try and carry them, but
stun out on the wind.
Ooh.
Tano does walk into the second Bramble, but with wind run up, well, they will still find it though. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that these Dark Willow players really know how to make that second Bramble in such a hard location to work with.
And now bounty runes up. The Alk's quite happy, and we haven't seen even in the previous series with that Chaos Knight, Alk was dying a little bit more there. But Kara hasn't really gotten the opportunity to make any stacks. So Rise has been losing out on a little bit of XP versus the Dazzle, but he's been stabilizing very steadily in the top lane.
Pamplona forced to toss up the bird. Yeah, back in bot, there is a snowball that goes out, but Benjaz unable to find a counter connection here. We'll throw out the shards, which actually buys him quite a bit of time, but walking into the first set, not really able to finish him off. In fact, the remnant is going to be tossed out there with Alone rotating back in. Now does need to leave, immediately breaking this ward, and Tano slowing him down with the wind run and finding the good power shot shackle combo. Now will fall. And this courier will fall too.
And it felt like a slightly strange, but don't speak so soon. PP's here with a haste.
Yep, he zips in. There's that haste rune coming into work. So Spirit v Spirit Alone will go down, and possibly looking for Tano here. He actually runs right past him.
Overshot.
Well, does get hit with the shackle. It's not perma, though. It's only level 1.
He's trying to bait PP to go under tower versus Benjaz, and then he might have been in a little bit of danger there, but at first I thought it was going to be a bad rotation coming from Alone as Ben just TP'd out, but they just had enough gas in the tank. They were able to take down the Jug, and it was a very solid rotation.
And now you see that Jug is just in the mid lane now. Doesn't want to be down in the bot anymore. Dying very early like that.
And he will be able to just... It feels bad TPing to a lane.
Oh, he gets the pin.
And rises.
Got perma shackle to the cart there.
That's very unlucky, yeah. Also used Shadow Realm, it looks like a little bit too early.
Well, these lanes are even in the kill department. I believe the bounty runes were about the same sort of story. So if we jump over to the net worth, we do see that it is a tie at the moment. The Jug and Alk are at equal footing.
And have to be careful in this top lane. Yogi's come over here, but Rises just pops his ultimate, and that kind of kills any aggression, but they might still try for it.
Yeah, they throw out the stun. They know that the Purge isn't available with it, so they will at least get the first stun. The toss up. There's not too much else to follow through here. He's actually got a Necronomicon, so, I mean, they might be able to get it, but Little Boy will be going down indefinitely. And you see Sexy Yogi, he really wants this kill. He's trying his best, slips into the Shadow Realm, but just no vision. Hang on. They get him. Good overall, but still, they might be losing Pampelona to this as well. Walks into the creep wave alone. No jump available, and Yogi pumping the Terrorize, but it looks like Yogi will be the one to fall. Holding the Terrorize. Nope. He manages to get the Fear just in time. With no leap charges available. Back down in the bot, though. We see that Benjaz was applying pressure to the Juggernaut, who also has his own Necronomicon.
And this is quite scary. You need to be very scared if you're this Jug now, because you'll get punched, then you're going to lose all of your mana once these Necro Creeps start beating into you. And at the same time, it felt like that kill would have been so much cleaner. It was coming out literally on the Courier. It was maybe 5 seconds away from the Dazzle before they really first started onto that Alk. But getting kills, getting pressure on both of these safe laners is very key. But Kars had time to stack for Rises. He's taking them now, and as soon as you get this Battle Fury, I feel like Rises doesn't really have a hero to come and contest them, but it all comes back to runes, and we see it time and time again where Storm Spirits, Void Spirits, they get these runes, they make these strong rotations, they continue to snowball the game in one way or the other.
I mean, at least he's not building the Radiance run, right? Like, that's... I felt like that was kind of the big, like, loss in that Alchemist game. Hard to really be like, oh, this was an S-tier Alch game. When you go for the old-fashioned Radiance, I was even getting flamed in chat saying that Radiance is bad versus Battle Fury.
Yeah.
But it is.
It definitely is, and I mean, it's just the old Alch. It's just the simple fact that, while Wraith King can get it, Wraith King's got 2 lives. Alchemist does not have 2 lives, and he also does not have very good armor.
That's like saying Spectre still goes Radiance first item. That's like saying that, basically.
So long. But PP.
Yeah, PP. He is in a bit of trouble here. He'll get hit by the Remnant. The Snowball goes through, but just enough mana and HP to work with. Shards do go out, but he will be able to disengage, though. Tano pumps Power Shot. Ooh, one more level into that. He probably would have got that, or held it maybe for another second.
And I'm surprised Alone actually didn't cast his Resonant Pulse. I really thought they would have got him off that, but looks like Tana will be punished for this bounty.
Well, you might say that. Okay, well, yeah, he's definitely punished there. He's maybe trying to get the deny, but not able to get it. Throws a Power Shot out on the way.
Oh, Alone?
Back in mid. You see Alone. He's very low mana with no jumps available, but Benjaz is the only target they could really achieve. PP knows he's the one getting hit by the Snowball. He pings it out, and Benjaz will at least give him a little punch on the way out.
And now, grouping up with the cards, I was just going to mention that was something Benjaz was doing well bottom. He was able to form up on that tower and then rotate mid, almost playing as a pseudo Beastmaster, but with the Healing Word, this is just the power of Jug, these early rotations, but he's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's getting hit purely by the tower here. The fortification will be expended now, just taking a lot of damage to the acid spray while just getting clicked on by the tower. They do have the Fear being pumped. Alone will disengage the first stun, but yeah, they end up getting the Willow through that. It's not going to find the save slipping into the Shadow Realm on that one.
And during this time, I do like that now is getting active, but now that he's quite far away from his Battle Fury still, and I feel like he should be playing slightly more selfish as the Alchemist. He just came mid and acid sprayed while farming with his Battle Fury, and with this time, Rises is not getting contested, and they don't have many of the items they need to contest him on the way just yet. The Orchid is still quite a few components away, as well as the Blink Dagger and Pamplona. I feel as if they might need to try a smoke soon, otherwise Rises might get a little bit too much speed under him.
Well, you got 2 smokes on Pamplona if they want to end up getting that breakdown, but I feel like even with a not Silver's Edge, they need to get the...
There we go.
I was almost going to Solar Crest. Spirit Vessel, that's what I thought. The Spirit Vessel is going to be the big kind of ticket item for them to maybe get this Alk breakdown, but you're right that like they are on a time frame, and this time frame needs to be met. But I don't think
they're
Yogi
in a very good spot.
Oh, PP,
whoa!
what happened? What? He just lost everything. He
got Centaur stomped. He got punched. There were 4 Necro creeps near the Centaur, and then just said, "I'm sick of this," and stunned the Storm Spirit. That's like a highlight reel clip right there. That was quite sad.
Well, they clip Yogi's courier here, which kind of reveals a little bit of information that they know that there is a support all the way in the back line here.
And I don't think either side really expected this, but yeah, the support's
Ooh. Benjaz timing it perfectly. He's able to get the snowball. However, this is still going to confirm his death. He'll get the punch on the way out, and Pamplona actually very low here, setting it up for Alone to get anything. But actually, you see PP coming in here with the zip. They put out some decent damage out to the Void Spirit. The Fear will help him get the confirm. They want more, though. They want to go for Kara, looking for the lucky toss. Just can't quite get it, though. Meanwhile, in the back lines, there's a power shot I heard that went out, but the tower will still go down to Little Boy.
And it was very unlucky for Alone. He wasn't able to get the bottle. He wasn't able to activate his regen rune before getting the Yules off because he was still affected by Poison Touch. And just one kill after another, and the smoke actually ended up paying off with Pamplona and Sexy Yogi. But still, Rises is farming. He's not been touched. He's got a Sange coming out now, even though it looks like it might get clipped. Ooh.
Yeah, they're playing with slips into the Shadow Realm to get the bonus attack range to get that one. So they will get the Sange, but you can see he's already TPing out from the bot. The Jug now with his own Battle Fury, however, so the catch-up and the Battle Fury race is pretty much there. Now is going to be discovered by Smoke, however, Tano maybe not reading the situation completely, as Little Boy is the target they were going for. Instead, they will clip his courier on the way out, which actually didn't reach to him. The tier 3 Necronomicon in there, but in the meantime, they do manage to pick off Kara with the power of supports. The fact that Dark Willow has 2 ults, but however, they are rotating in. Storm wanted the DD rune. He will pop it. They might actually try to turn this into a fight. Doesn't have the silence, though, and has very low mana to work with. Zips up and zips across. Benjaz will throw out the shard. The punch is barely within range here. He's just got a little bit more move speed over PP. He actually stops to hit the creep. That had to be purely on accident. There's no way.
Perhaps using right click, yeah, accidentally attacks the creep, and they were able to catch him. He was most likely caught anyway, but still, it's very unfortunate. And with the storm going down, now Rises is free to come back to his ancient area. I was going to praise them with how much they've been able to kind of scare Kara into being this almost human ward and sit here for the Alchemist, but now he's going to be completely fine farming up. You'll have a full Sanjin Yasha when his courier is alive. He's farming so quickly. And they feel pressure on Infinity Esports. They want to keep making these plays, but still, no Orchid on Storm. He'll have it in one creep camp, but it feels slightly discombobulated from their side. They might get Kara again, but
I mean, it looks like Kara's definitely going down here.
But it feels like you're sick of getting him. He's died so many times, but in spots that he shouldn't be dying in, because it's not the best kill. They're looking for meteor targets, freer picks, but instead, it's just the Alk getting even more speed.
I mean, the Yasha is up now as well, so Rises, he's going to have the full SNY, and PP is reviewing in the mid lane here. He does take the shot from the Dagon creep there.
Oh, Tano.
Oh, yeah, they do look for Tano and find him, actually, in the sideline here. The Shackle Shot not able to find too much outside of that, but Yogi is going to get caught by the snowball here, but the silence has been revealed. Yogi, though, still in trouble as Alone will jump in and look to get the finish off. Shadow Realm not going to help him, but the Yules is going to be there. The Omni Slash basically negated all of it. However, Alone will still go down, but Rise is coming in, maybe to try to put down a good team fight, but just really can't get anything done. And regeneration rune on PP, he's just able to zip away as many times as he wants.
They got
Does
it.
get it broken, though.
Yeah, he went a little bit too crazy. The entire enemy team knew that he was only one step left, and as soon as he used it. But again, Rises hasn't had to really stop to fight at all. He just makes a very quick rotation, hits people for maybe 2 seconds, then TP's back to his triangle and keeps farming.
PP throwing out the tip to Ben Jazz, basically making sure that he knows that he broke the regen rune.
Dire's top
Yes.
tower is under attack.
But the issue that I'm coming up for an Infinity Esports is just that now, while they don't have a lot of lockdown on Eagle Boys, 2 Blink Daggers are coming out freshly for the Tusk and for the Windrunner, and they're both very close to it.
Yeah, he's about 100 gold away. These blinks are going to be a big team fight changer for them, and it's not like they're not behind, more or less. But, I mean, this is going back to the whole Alchemist scenario that he is top of the net worth, and he can just kind of just run with this game still. Like you've been saying, he's been relatively uncontested. Yeah, now needs to be careful. He will get power shot, shackle, comboed. He's just straight dead. Didn't even really need tag team for it, but they did it.
When you had heroes hovering around mid because the rune is spawning in 5 seconds or so, but that's a big death that you really don't want to give up. Now Alchemist is sitting on 2,500 gold, building towards the heart, and where's your damage coming from? It's really just coming from the Jug and the Orchid. Oh, maybe Rises. He got the ult off.
Yeah, he popped ult though. He's gonna have a lot of HP regen to work with, and now you see that Tana rotates in. Looking for the shackle, unable to find it, but on the back lines, they will be able to find Sexy Yogi. Does buy a lot of time, though, and actually puts out the Terrorize, maybe putting in some decent damage, but nothing for the follow-up there.
Little boy needs to be so careful.
Yeah, you just see Win jumping in. Tano, I think with that zip out, though, it kind of gives him a good chunk of information here, but Pamplona, they just got to reset, more or less. But Eagle Boys, they really want to keep getting these picks. They're having a great time just making sure this happens, and you already see the first part of the heart just rolling out.
Again, now is farming in a very scary spot, and with these 2 Blink Daggers, the counter initiation, you need to be scared of it.
Speaking of which,
now
Blink Dagger now again is going to be found out here, but since he's already spinning, he's going to be in a good spot, and Alone does zip out for the time being. An Astral Step there. Oh, they find the kill on Tano, though. It is a big 3-man split.
They just barely weren't able to chain it up along with the Aether Remnant, so he was able to spin out of it. Otherwise, it would have been a very close kill.
Oh, Ben Jazz comes in. Remnant is locked, and they find him. And that's the combo you got there. Blink reveal going to work, but down in bot lane, Rises might be in a bit of trouble here. He is hit with a normal urn, but the poison touch will keep him pretty negated. But you see Kara coming in.
There's Kara.
The heal is going to be there. And Rises, I mean, Kara's actually, he just wants to run at them. He's going to get stunned up and hit with the poison touch. You see the blink in immediately from Pamplona, though. They want to get this response. The root is there, and Benjaz unable to drop the snowball. Little boy needs to be careful. Alone is chasing after him. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, Yogi is being chased down by Tano here, and they will find the kill on Little Boy. And next will be Yogi as he gets shackled to the trees for that extra stun time, and they will find this kill eventually. They will pop the Terrorize. He's trying to put some damage on the way out, but it'll only be so much.
It's unfortunate. One of the saddest feelings in the world is whenever they did smoke under a ward just now, but playing Tusk and getting rooted, you can't use your snowball. It really is detrimental, but they knew Storm Spirit was dead for another 15 seconds. Jug was showing in the top wave, so they had no fear running at him, and you saw that in Kara, just absolutely a unit, just running there, right-clicking people with the Impetus.
I mean, you can't underestimate the power of the 5 Enchantress. It's only level 2 Impetus as well. It does so much damage very early.
And with the heart now on rises, now those opportunities are getting smaller and smaller as Infinity Esports aren't able to build as much damage. Oh, if they smoke and find the Alk, I don't even know if they could kill them at this point. He just doesn't have a damage item on Jug yet. He's went for that Manta style.
I mean, is the Manta even really going to save him, though? He keeps just getting jumped and insta-punched. I mean, the butterfly might be the one that would save him from that. It would save him from initially getting punched the first time. Because it's not like Earthshaker where the chant totem always hits. Punch doesn't always hit.
Oh, it's a double
Speaking of
smoke.
which,
Oh no.
they jump in, they get the punch, and I mean, this looks like a very dead, I was going to say little boy, but they will find the kill on the Dazzle, and they will trade off for Tano, though alone is trying to get some kills on the sidelines while the Echo Slam, the Omni Slash goes through. Does a lot of damage here. They have to disengage for the time being. PP needs to reset here as the snowball goes through. Courier gets clipped, but there's nothing in it. Rises. He wants to get the full duration, and he will indeed get it. Throws out the OK. They will find this kill while now is spinning out onto Kara here. They will find the support trade-off. And the tower.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And up until Rises has his basher, he really won't be able to control and stick onto the Jug. And the Jug getting the Mantis out just as a preemptive purchase to the eventuality that is this Void Spirit Ags. If anything, it was a good try to try and get that Void Spirit kill, as if they didn't get that, they really wouldn't have gotten anything, as they kept him stunned up long enough that he wasn't able to get the self-fuels off. But again, you can either ignore the Alch, you can split push the Alch, or you can try and kill this Alchemist. And right now, having to... You're forced to fight him, and while your Jug is able to walk away, isn't under too much pressure, I can't imagine you're too happy if you're at Infinity Esports, because critical mass is almost being achieved as Rises queues up the AC. Then the Alchemist will really have an issue killing the entire Eagle Boys lineup. Oh, Kara.
I mean, this is the life of the Enchantress. Slow and insidious death, and it's not really much they could do. They're throwing out another OK.
So I really feel like we are seeing double though, because in the instead of Kara, before we had A, and he was just buying time for his Alchemist, doing whatever he can, because you really just need to wait and farm. It's just that kind of game.
At least it's not one of those games where Alk is absolutely dominating and running over the whole entire map and taking both your and their jungle within literal seconds. This is flashing back, of course, to the old-fashioned Manta Boots of Travel Radiance Alk.
And they're getting Roche.
I mean, they can't really do any sort of contest here. I don't think they knew it was happening. Is there a ward that got? Nope, no ward. I don't think they had a really great way to contest it, though. Like, the Tusk can come in and do one singular spell. It's not like a... it's not an Echo Slam, or it's not an AA Blast.
Well, and that's the sort of issue with this Tusk pick being the offlane. You don't have... And the reason they keep on having to pick this Tusk in this position is because all of the good offlaners are gone. All of the ideals are really taken out, and then they're flexing it into this lineup. And at least this time around, we are seeing the Alchemist in a much further ahead spot. But giving up that Roche, it definitely feels sort of bad. Especially, it's just so fast with the Dazzle. It's not a huge time commitment. Even though it does still feel like Infinity Esports will have difficulty fighting into Eagle Boys as this Alk. I mean, he's going to continue to march down lanes, but if you can go 1-for-1 towers here, I think you're very happy if you're Infinity Esports. You just need more time.
It looks like they're going to try to buy that time in the form of trading towers here. They didn't fort trade, though, as... Oh, they did fort trade. But, I mean, Rises is just going to click into this tower, and he's going to be coming to this quite late.
And tier 3s.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to put some good damage into this tier 3, but they see Alone over here thanks to this ward. And they will hit him with the Avalanche. But not quite enough. Alone, they will reveal that the silence is there.
It's a great ward placement. They made Alone sweat for a second there, but a little bit strange that they were allowing the Infinity Esports to hit into that tier 3 as much as they were able to. They took about 1,000 HP off of it. But even Eagle Boys, they don't want to necessarily fight into Storm Spirit Aegis. They don't want to throw away any lead they do have, because they know as soon as they lose any singular fight, then the game really starts to spiral, and it is going to spiral into Infinity Esports' favor, as we see all 3 of their cores leading up the net worth chart. Oh, Kara?
Well, he's the first one to sort of break the smoke here. Well, there's not really too much actually floating around, though. I guess it's not... There's no counter smoke going up by Infinity yet, either. At least they didn't ult the heck out of this illusion.
Oh, and it looks like Rise is set up in a very good spot. We'll just start to roll this tier 2 tower as instead Infinity want to take the map, and now the roles have sort of reversed. Oh, now got a bounty rune denied in front of his face, but as we talked about a lot, it's so important to have map control when you have these spirits, as the Storm gets a arcane rune yoinked in front of them. In fact, they were trying to bait the arcane rune for a while there. But now, Rises, they've got the lanes in such a good position, Eagle Boys are just going to start sieging your tower, and we literally have reversed the roles. Now they need to come back.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting in some decent damage into this. The only difference is that they do have the fortification available. So they will just fort and make them push back. There is no Roche to be taking for a long time because it literally just happened.
And both sides want tier 3 items. They ideally would want to wait as long as possible, but now finding a Paladin Sword, that's very nice on his side.
Yeah, that's the that is definitely the Jug's key item here. I don't even know what he had beforehand.
I think it was either a Van Brace or something unimportant, but they're gonna smoke up again.
I mean, that's the name of the game, is that smoke and find a very important pick. And I mean, you could technically see that you find Rises off the get-go alone.
Oh, PP.
They find PP with the shackle. He's just dead. That is the first Aegis, though. Or the first Aegis, first life.
He's got the stun on the snowball.
Yeah, the snowball is there, and they have the shallow grave. They have to buy time with this. The Yules goes up. Doesn't have any burn damage, but he's silenced up immediately with the storm zip in from the Void Spirit, and Void Spirit actually is going to fall himself while the Omni Slash rips through this lineup.
And this is
now you have to jump in. Benjaz, he has to end up snowballing to disengage, but he's got nothing. He ends up going down with this one. It's an insane quick swap out, and they're not even done. You see the zip in from PP. They want Rises. They know his ult is down for another 20 seconds. Can they get a stun there in time? Yes, they can. The root is going to be there, and they're going to find this kill. They have the stun available, the urn as well, burning away that HP.
And that was so incredibly played by Infinity Esports. PP was incredibly calm, even when he was at dropping below 400 HP, incredibly low. He just simply zips out, continues to right-click, and it was Alone who actually overextended. Again, he had no pulses, he got none of his spells off after that second silence. He couldn't even self-Yules, and leading to all of these kills, his team was just way too deep, and there wasn't an ALK in front. He wasn't able to lead the battle, and now, again, we're back on your high ground. They don't have Glyph for another 50 seconds, and now might be able to even claim this tier 3 tower.
He's working on it. Basher's going to be next for him, but yeah, this is a dead tower here. They might try for a deny, but not going to get it. Now we'll end up taking a little bit of damage from the first Dagon creep. The second Dagon creep is going to hit Kara here. Still gets hit by the Remnant, but this is kind of running back to the fact that there's not much they could do with ALK just being dead, and at the same time, it's just ALK. That's where their damage is right now. I mean, Alone is great for reinitiating this fight, but they'll have to let it go for the time. They get the racks, though. That's exactly what they wanted to achieve with this engagement.
And you see again that there is just no really reliable lockdown coming out from Ego Esports. They tried keeping that Storm Spirit pinned down as long as possible. They had the Ags. He doesn't have a BKB yet on Storm, and that should have been it. That should have been his last song, but instead, they just don't have that big team fight. They don't have that guaranteed disable, and he's just able to squeak out by a smidge, and everything turns on his head after that with Pamplona just jumping the backline, Jug just being able to do so much damage with his Omni Slash, and this is looking really bad for Ego Esports going forward.
The Abyssal Blade is also almost done for now. As soon as this is done, like, you're gonna see this ALK get picked off in every single one of these team fights, and it's going back to your original point that there's just no real good counter disable. Like, you've got your shackle, and that's really the biggest one that you have available, because the Tusk Punch is great. It holds them up for a little bit of time, but it's just the punch. And see, where are our TPs at? Okay, they have full TPs available, but I mean, Infinity know what they could do, and they're just going to keep running at towers.
They just have no good way to really get this Healing Word out of his hands. It'd probably be the win running forward and taking it out, but again, it feels like Infinity Esports are able to take so many objectives for free because that initiation isn't there from the Ego Boys. That punishment isn't there, where Jug is going to hit a tower and then there's that risk of him dying. Instead, it's, I'm going to hit that tower, I'm going to spin if literally anything happens, and I'm going to be completely fine because I have this Butterfly, I have this Basher, and I'm going to turn on you instead. And now with the BKB on PP, this game is getting harder and harder for the Ego boys.
Yeah. I don't want to say this is the next play until we wait till the Roshan, but like they already have the insurance plan like you're talking about. Run up with the healing ward and just spin at all possible threats. Like he's not afraid of the Tusk blinking in to do the punch, because the punch is just... The punch is the only threat that's outside of the BKB. Like there's no bash or hero that you're running here. And I mean, Void Spirit can't do anything when you're spinning. I mean, the silence is there, but since the Jug ended up running for the Manta and not the SNY build, he has the Dispel for it.
And it's the same problem that we saw in our previous series with Infamous, where they're just struggling to find any decent team fight, whereas Infinity Esports, they get to play so actively, they get to play so aggressively into the Ego Boys lineup, and if they kite out the Alchemist for too long, then he's useless. The bright side is he does have a 10-second BKB, so he will be able to stick on this backline a little bit more, but Roche is spawning in 5 seconds. This is feels like it's coming to be one of the last fights of the game.
Yeah, Roche in 5 seconds, plus now showing off his fresh new Abyssal Blade. And you see Alone, he has to get out of there as soon as possible, and a defensive BKB from Tano to try to leave. He will go ahead and pop his ult here, but the Omni Slash goes through immediately. Wind is going to Wind Run out, causing the Omni Slash to do literally nothing, but PP showing off his BKB as well, but Ryze is throwing out his. They are going to turn on this fight a little bit on the head here, but Little Boy is going to try to get out of here. Will throw out the Shallow Grave, but immediately Alone gets jumped on by PP. He's going to lose all of his HP to that one zip alone, and now you see the Avatos with the silence to follow through. Now is coming in and clicking on the man. He is going down. 3 dead, and now Kara next on the to-do list. The only one to survive was Wind, and now it's just a free Roshan.
And again, they just get kited so far out of their base, so far out of their safe zone. And even though Ryze's was tangled up with that Shackle shot, once he got back to the fight, once they were able to refocus, they just have nothing for the Storm Spirit. I mean, it was even a last pick. Well, not the entire last pick, but this Void Spirit is not doing enough to counter against it. In fact, he sat on this ward spot for maybe 10 seconds just because without his steps, without his charges...
PP. He zipped in and ate the cheese mid-zip to end up getting that jump in there, but not going to find anything. But they do force the BKB from Wind.
And they get BKBs out of both these heroes, and now, I mean, this is just Rax.
I mean, fortunately, they can only get Rax, as there is a tier 1 and tier 2 still available in this bot lane. But you could see Infinity
just wants to hit.
Yeah, I mean, they got to take the advantage that they know that they have. Pressure some of these additional buildings. But now they're just going to...
using all of his spells, he'll probably back out now.
Yeah, they're just going to reset. Work on getting the last of these towers here, as the whole entire bot lane is still available. That kind of like gives a huge definition as to how, like, what little impact the bot towers actually do for a game.
There's just nothing of real importance down here, as well as how Roshan-centric the entire game is played. You need to be very careful, but the smoke. They're gonna pop. They saw the Jug, but they don't want him.
I mean, Jug is a very hard one to go after. Plus, he's got the Aegis. They will find the punch, but immediately jumping in Alone is gonna get picked, but he buys back immediately. No real method to get in there, though. There's nothing to TP to. I'd say that, though. He actually TPs to the outpost, not the tower. Jug still with Omni Slash available, but he's just clicking into Benjaz. Little Boy does fall at the beginning of this transaction, but they go ahead and Omni out this Alchemist. He will buy back, though. They are tearing into them quite effectively here, as you do see Tiny is going to be going down. Pamplona and the spin TP out from now. They will go ahead and leave, as they lose 3 from this transaction with 2 total buybacks, but both of these buys being cores. And I mean, looking at the gold change, there's literally no difference in what happened here.
If anything, they must feel pretty bad about that, as all of the cores just immediately got out as soon as that happened. And Ryze, he's got the Basher queued up now, but that's the item he needs to fight versus this Jug. It just feels like this Jug is a little bit too far ahead of him at this point. And while they will be able to push into this mid-tower, I don't think they're even going to force buybacks. I don't think that Infinity Esports are really under any pressure right now from Ego Boys. It's just business as usual.
I mean, you can see that this is the desperation of the game. You can go to Ryze's real quick. You can see he's got this Divine queued up. as the last item does come in for him. It's actually just these TPs that's trying to get to him because he's a very fast boy. But Divine is the name of the game. We're already at that point in time, 36 minutes in. Alk still leading the top of the net worth, but the fact that he's actually now tied because he sold his boots. Well, he's got spider legs, so he'll be fine in that department. But this is the name of the game. It's Divine or die.
In that last fight as well, they had the perfect jump. They started on Dazzle. Little boy got none of his spells off. That usually he's the most annoying hero in these fights. He's getting the Greaves off. He's getting the constant shadow waves. But even when you kill him, there's just so much to get through. The Dark Willow, Sexy Yogi's playing so well. He's taking so long for all these heroes to die. And he has the Divine, but I don't know if they have enough lockdowns still.
Infinity are actually... they're smoked up. They wanted to try to find somebody to get the good jump there, but nobody to find. I mean, they'll be fine taking the tower. They don't know about the Divine, not yet at least. Trying to see if there's any aggressive wards that might give them that sort of identification or not. But there's just nothing around. No wards in this triangle. No wards outside either.
They jumped an illusion. I believe it was a Kara illusion very quickly and killed it. But now, not even smoked up, it's very difficult for Ego Boys to find an in here. If Ryze had an Abyssal, then I'd be a believer, but it still feels like it's going to be a very long time before he's going to have that Basher, and at that point, Jug is still going to be able to run over a lot of these fights. Still having Aegis as well for another 30 seconds. If he wanted, he could just go die bottom.
Well, 30 seconds is a bit of a hot...
You gotta die pretty fast. But
yeah,
that's what he wants.
Want death, like, immediately. Well, they do force the TPs. I don't think they are pinging out that there might have been a ward here in the mid, but there's currently nothing. He just left on instinct.
And now with all the pressure, all the lanes you already have, they have to stay in their base. And every time you force them back, you can either take the map or... Not saying we're going to have to wait for another Aegis to respawn before the game's over, but that's the position that Infinity Esports in. They really don't need to win a fight.
They do find PP. They hit him up with the punch. The silence follows through, and just all of Benjaz's HP is gone within literal seconds. But now they're going to keep going onto this one. They want to look for this Enchantress. The spin is going out. They're trying to pump into Kara, but instead they go for the Alk. They see the Divine Rapier, though. The Aegis insta-gone, because we already saw it anyway, and now the Divine Rapier tearing into him, and PP's like, get back, get back, get back. I just died to Divine Rapier. I took 300 damage in one right click.
And a picture-perfect jump. At the same time, Benjaz getting bursted there. He wasn't able to get the BKB off out of the Storm's Vortex, but did not get Omni Slash off. He didn't get anything off on the Jug. Same with the Storm Spirit. As soon as he didn't have BKB, he just walked to that Alchemist and he let himself get concocted. There's nothing he could do there either, and this Divine, it's a shot. It's a shot in the dark, but they could still pull this together if they're able to kill these cores.
I mean, it's going back to your original statement now. After these two cores are dead, it's Roche. That's where it's going to go down to. We got 2 minutes left on that, and I mean, Infinity, they could definitely buy out those 2 minutes. They will lose the rest of... Well, they actually don't have any other towers to lose, but the Rapier is where they have to play against, and the only problem is that the longer they take, the more items this Alchemist is going to get, because you could see with his spending habits that he's going strictly into full buy. Like, he is not keeping for buyback. He's got 3 minutes left on it. So he's not really afraid of dying, more or less.
And that's the nice thing about this new talent. Not even a new talent, but people didn't get it before. The 25% cleave. He's got the Battle Fury backpacked unless he does need to kill a lot of creeps. And with that, the Abyssal Blade, that's his timing. That's when he can get some stuff done finally. Oh, Kara.
I didn't even see that. They do lose the gem, actually. It's kind of a big loss there. But
yeah, he got a little bit too cocky. Pamplona just jumped in, got the got the gem back, dewarded himself.
Divine Enchantress.
That would be interesting, but it's very sad in his inventory right now in Kara's.
Well, we got a possible, what, 30 seconds? Yeah, 30 seconds until the next possible Roche. And you could see with that one pick, Ego Boys are like not having it. They're going to stay in their base, and they want nothing to do with anything that could happen outside of it. They're even smoked inside the base.
At first, I thought they were looking to purchase an item, but Abyssal Blade already on rises. They're just trying to find anyone. If they can get a kill with the Roche maybe respawning, it would definitely lead to a buyback, but I think they're going a little bit too low. Not going to be able to hit anyone.
Yeah, nobody running around in particular, so it's just going to be a big old circle around here. They don't want to reveal, though, is the other thing. Like, they don't want to walk in the lane and click on creeps. That'll give them a lot of information, but
they're very scared to ever initiate. And now with the Storm Spirit, he constantly has to be afraid of rises, but they really don't want the fight to start on the Alk.
So you can see that the Juggernaut, by the way, was working up for the Monkey King bar. Oh, hang on. Zip. What? Who? What?
All of his mana. All of his mana.
All for an Arcane Rune.
And he got it.
No, it was the Regen Rune. Never mind. He has an Arcane Rune bottle.
Worth. Yeah, he's got an Arcane Rune in the back pocket now, and that's really useful. That's quite scary. But you see, T4 is under siege. They need to come back and defend it, and it feels awful because they're getting pulled away from this Roshan, and they never want to show in these ways because they really can't afford to die on anyone at this point on Ego Boys.
Well, the Alk's not really concerned about it, though. He'll just keep on running around. Doesn't have travels because he went for the alternate build here. He's got mass mangoes as he has no mana.
Very hungry Alk. Very hungry Alk.
Oh, you hear the fear being channeled here, but now you see with Tiny in the pit, they know the Roche is live.
Oh.
Now does not get hit with the Perma Shackle, though, but he will jump in to try to find the jump on Tano here, and Storm Spirit zipping around. The BKB goes out on the rises to make sure he doesn't stun himself. And that kind of gives a little bit of this light reset here. Yogi comes in, drops the Terrorize under the brambles. This is huge. If they get this kill on rises, he's up in the air. He's dead. Omni Slash going through the Divine is on the ground, and you can see the Storm Spirit hovering over it. And Divine has been picked up by the Juggernaut. Rises is going to tear into the rest of this team as G-Pride. Ego Boys slowly losing their lives here. They find this kill on the car. The spin damage is too much to deal with. They find alone and drop the GG. Rises is done. This will make it a 1-1 series as Infinity won the game with the Divine Rapier pickup off the Jug. And that
Alk's net worth is ruined.
Yeah, like Alk's net worth is gone. It is out the window. He was even building into the Moon Shard, which would have decreased his net worth even that slight little bit more. I don't know who. I mean, he was going to eat it, obviously, but it was the that quick blitz there and Divine Rapier hitting the ground. A lot of these games always come down to that, though. Like when it gets super, like, not ultra late. I think we were in like still the normal late, because ultra late's when you have the max tier items out. But when you get into this late of a game, it is that do or die, and Divine Rapier is the main definer. And Alchemist is just not the right hero to kind of carry the Divine Rapier still.
And it's really just back against the wall. He is out of options. There's nothing he can do. He's already playing versus a Butterfly, and he doesn't want to buy the MKB. And that's the big place where it stems from. But the entire time now is ahead of Rises. Even in the Alk versus Jug, he was able to keep up perfectly. And it just goes back to that draft where it's so difficult for Ego Boys to execute their lineup, even though they were able to get a little bit of team fighting done in the early game. As soon as they misplay just a little bit here and there, there's a Storm Spirit on the enemy team. There's a Jug who doesn't care about any of your heroes. And Pamplona and Sexy Yogi were so good at the counter initiations. Infinity Esports, their lineup was just a perfect counter to Ego Boys' hard to execute lineup. There's not much more to be said.
I'm kind of glad we're having Alk games be a loss, though. Like, I know that you like Alchemist in the fact that it is that secret sort of NA pocket draft. Or not really even a pocket draft. We've seen it picked up actually more times today than I think we have the whole week.
Everybody just hates it. But yeah, the South Americans definitely like letting it through, and it's not invulnerable. It really isn't. I'm sure we'll watch some NA games, and they're going to still continue to first phase ban it. We're going to still see them first phase pick it. But all these players played fantastically versus it. It never felt like this Alk was going to 1v9. It never felt like Rises was going to have that situation arise. But still, great game overall.
It's a fairly even game, and it wasn't just a one side was going to win and one side was going to lose right off the get-go. It was still a very even game throughout the whole entire scenario, because you saw the Divine Rapier near the end there for that team fight, and that caught them off guard, and they just needed to not really do it again, more or less, but it was the scenario of that's the best option that they had available, and it bites them in the end. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that actually is the end of the stream. There actually will not be a fourth series today, as some of you may have heard that 4 Zoomers were given the defo win over 5-man Midas. They ended up forfeiting only the series. They are not out like Black and Yellow had dropped for mysterious reasons. I can't remember what the tweet said in particular, but they did end up forfeiting this series, not the whole entire tournament, though. You will see that 5-man Midas in their later games, I believe, in 2 days? Because we don't have them tomorrow.
Let me take a look at the schedule.
Tomorrow, I'm making poor excuses.
Tomorrow we've got Undying versus Infinity to lead off the day. Man, Undying just gets to play early. That's so nice.
Yeah, I'd
SG
love to have
versus
the opening
Arkosh,
games.
Unknown versus Dogchamp, and we'll get to see Penta. I'm very excited to see Penta Ace play again. They're the one team that I think has the most internationally vetted players. It's just always nice to see Fear playing again as well. That roster is very fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see them pull out a Life Stealer. Like, that's the most interesting thing I've seen in quite some time. Yes, and winning with it, of course.
26-minute win, no less. It was quite a short game.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us on the BTS main stream. Hope you enjoyed some NA Dota tonight. ET, do you have anything to say on the way out? Other than what we've already said?
It wasn't just NA Dota, it's the SA Dota. You know, we're keeping it. But tomorrow, we're fighting. Arkosh versus SG, Undying versus Infinity. Don't go anywhere. It's NA versus SA day tomorrow.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching the BTS Pro Series number 5. We will see you tomorrow for some more Dota 2 action. This Party, PD, and ET signing off.